Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
When you're living with low vision, life can be a challenge. Everyday tasks and the things you love to do can become difficult and feel impossible. You might find yourself feeling sad, isolated, frustrated, and like you just want to give up. Don't. If you're 55 or older and your world has gotten smaller because of vision loss, it's time to be bold. Time to be bold is helping people like you with low vision regain your independence. Go to timetobebold.org for a list of services in your state that will give you the tools, technology, training, and support you need to live your bold, best life. Join others who found a bright, bold future. Go to timetobebold.org. Help is here. Go to timetobebold.org today.
HIV is not a crime, or it shouldn't be.
It's time for the laws to catch up to science.
Join the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation to modernize outdated HIV criminalization laws. Go to etaf.org. Campaign funded through the support of Gilead Sciences, Incorporated.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-691-9999. That's 800-691-9999.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. More cloud cover for us as we head into the afternoon. Temperatures are cooler than yesterday with a high of 63. Overnight tonight, it's mild at 47. Tomorrow's warmer. Our high temperatures will climb up to 73, but the skies will be mostly cloudy.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today up 240 points to 49,236.
Oh, between the legs, Miller! He scores! Goss to spare, scores! On the power play! Is this one a move on? One-out score! Logan Stankoven against his former team! Svechnikov, Miller! He scores! His second of the game! Welcome back! Seth Jarvis draws the penalty and scores the goal! Ehlers out in front, kicked away, rebound, they score! Will Carrier!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Happy Thursday to you all. It's a hockey night in Carolina. We are days away from a Carolina Panthers playoff game. Middle of college basketball season. I was so excited to get to the show. I was knocking things off my desk as we left.
Can confirm.
Loud rackets. People are like, what's going on? I'm like, it's showtime. Couldn't wait to get down here and give you the big 3 at 3. Number 1. Carolina Panthers Saturday versus the Los Angeles Rams. This one continues to build, right? That's the way playoffs work. It starts with the beginning of the week. I can't believe we're here. By now, you're looking at matchups. By now, you're looking at how things could potentially break in one direction or the other. And
The Carolina Panthers have a risk that they need to take if they can, if possible. And it has to do with Robert Hunt. He is their building block on the offensive line. He was the gigantic contract when he came over from the Miami Dolphins, and he's been hurt for quite some time. For the latest on the status of Rob Hunt and his potential availability this weekend, here is the head coach, Dave Canales.
Status is questionable, but he had a great day. He had another fantastic day. He was out there with his guys. I'm very optimistic about Rob playing, and I can't put anything official out there until, of course, we come up with the final roster and all that stuff. But he looked great.
Starter?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. If Rob can play, that's the whole reason. For last week, it was like we're not going to put him out there part time. If he's playing, he's playing, and this is it. This is the only game we have. This is it. So he's got to go. He's fired up to help out his teammates, and obviously, that'll be all official whenever it is. So,
few things about this. One, Robert Hunt, speaking to the media yesterday, talked about how he's like the kid that didn't do anything on a group project, and he just got the good grade, talking about the Panthers making it to the postseason. And that leads me to the risk I was talking about. He doesn't think his arm's going to be perfect, right? He doesn't think it's going to be 100%. He hasn't played in a long time. If he can go, if he thinks he can be effective, play him. Play him and run behind him and trust him and let him lead the way. He is that kind of player, and he can be that kind of a difference maker. There is risk involved with playing a guy that hasn't played in a long time. Playing, it's the day of the presentation for your class project, and you're going to the guy that didn't do any of the preparation and saying, hey, you're pretty good. You're a little bit more charismatic than the rest of us. Here are the slides we made. You go present. But it's worth it, because if he can go out there and be some shell of himself, right? He doesn't have to be the best version of. It could be a difference maker. The running game for the Carolina Panthers over the last month hasn't been win playoff levels. It's been back into the playoff levels. It's been lose games that you were treating as playoff games levels. Robert Hunt playing can change that. Even if his arm won't be perfect, if he can compete with it, if he can leg drive, if he can put his shoulder into people, if he can find a way, yeah, Robert Hunt's out there.
Yeah, help that running game that only has, between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard the last 4 weeks, only 225 yards between those two guys.
Yeah, I saw people talking about getting the rookie ETN some carries. Which,
hey, why not?
I mean, I want to see the other two first, but if they continue to be ineffective and your back's against it, no bad ideas. Robert Hunt could change that, though. Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, 225 yards over 4 games? Well, let's be clear. That's Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard behind someone other than Robert Hunt. Maybe Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard behind Robert Hunt are more effective. I think it could literally be that. Right? I love when we realize we just completely overthink things. Right, dissecting the running game. Well, they haven't been doing this. They haven't stayed committed to this. They haven't ridden the hot hand. The pass game hasn't opened it up, and it turns out it's like, oh, they've just been missing their best run blocker. X's and O's versus Jimmy's and Joe's, you know what I mean? Robert Hunt's a pretty good Jimmy and Joe. So it could be very good news if he is able to go this weekend for the Panthers. That is number 1 on the Big 3 at 3. Next up is number 2.
Number 2.
Hockey night in Carolina, everybody. As always, you can hear all Carolina Hurricanes games right here on 99.9 The Fan, as well as the 99.9 The Fan app. It is the second home game in a 3-game homestand. They took care of business in Game 1 against Dallas, an emotionally charged game with funny chants at Mikko Rantanen, big games by a bunch of different guys. Tonight, 7 o'clock, they take on the Anaheim Ducks. Let's just call a spade a spade. This is a bit of a letdown possibility because there was so much energy around the Dallas game and there was so much history involving Mikko, and Dallas is quite frankly a better team. And you look at Anaheim, and they're young and they're up and coming and they're a Western Conference team that you don't see that often, that you don't have the personal history with, and it's a little different, right?
Don't sleep on the Ducks.
I'm not sleeping on them.
They got some They got some dudes over there.
And there is actually a little bit of personal history with some guys that used to play with the Canes. It's just less I don't know, vitriolic. It's less personal. It's less angry. Maybe there's the lesson, right? They played really, really well, particularly scoring the puck against Dallas. And I think it's because everybody was out there trying to get theirs a little bit, right? Everybody was out there, hey, Logan Stankoven, pretend like, what's the, not Happy Gilmore, Waterboy, goodness gracious, where he's imagining the guy's head on all of the offensive players and water sucks. It really, really. Imagine every player on the Ducks is Mikko Rantanen and Logan Stankoven, and he's just saying, like, they wanted me. They didn't want you. Like, imagine that's all going on with Anaheim because, if you're going to be a second-line player, you got to score the puck every now and then. Same is true for, I know Keandre Miller was like, I don't know, shoot pucks, get lucky. But if you get that production from one of your blue liners, that's huge. So I'm looking at this game, and I'm hoping they bring the same sizzle. They bring the same anger. And you know what? You know who else I'm going to call out on this one? The Lenovo Center faithful, right? I want you to bring the sizzle the same way you did against Dallas. Right? I want you to be paying attention the same way you were against Dallas. If there's an opportunity, come up with this game's version of Logan's better. Right? Like that was the chant they made after Logan scored on Mikko Rantanen. There's opportunities for everybody to pick up the energy a bit. And lastly, and we'll have to talk about this later on in the show, they didn't have a morning skate today. But they did practice yesterday, and there are two bits of interesting news coming out of morning skate yesterday, the most interesting of which being Jacob Slavin was not in a non-contact sweater. He was in a regular sweater. And after practice, Rod Brindamore did say it's up to Jacob and the medical staff as far as if he plays or not tonight against the Ducks. So you're telling me there's a chance, right? Jacob Slavin might be on the ice tonight, and if he is, that obviously levels up multiple aspects of what the Canes' potential can be. And then secondly, if the day before starters crease goalie pattern continues, right, again, with no morning skate, it's less set in stone, Freddie Anderson will be in net today. And every single game he can play well is worth its weight in gold for the veteran goaltender for the Carolina Hurricanes. Obviously, Brandon Bussi is playing well, and he feels as dependable as you can feel for a guy that has 18 career appearances. But if Freddie can be that safety net and get back to playing some level of dependable Freddie goal, then that would be huge. So maybe that starts tonight because he's had a rough go of it. If you're looking for maybe my favorite stat that I learned today, Freddie Anderson is 10th all-time in points in the NHL by somebody from Denmark. He is 10th in Danish points in the NHL. You could probably win some good bar bets on that one, asking what active players are in the top 10 from Denmark in points. Freddie Anderson probably not on the tip of many tongues. Number one, obviously, Nikolai Ehlers, though. He's teammates, so two of them. Two of the top 10 Danes in point-producing history on the same team. That's number two. Let's get to number three.
Number three.
And I should tell you, I have the first goal scorer predictions real quickly of the 99.9 The Fan personalities from the other day parts here. Somebody from 99.9 The Fan has predicted a Freddie Anderson point today. I'll save the rest for 4:33 when we get to first goal scorer predictions. But somebody has predicted a Freddie Anderson point. Lastly, on the Big 3 at 3, the transfer portal continues to turn. And the irony is, immediately after the Canes game against Dallas, we were talking about it, Dennis and I, at the over in the cubicles, and I said, actually, these revenge games are becoming more and more popular in college football. For years, you didn't have those, right? You might have one if a guy transferred and sat out a year, or a grad transfer, one guy, and it would be like a big emotional thing. Now, Gio Lopez just announced he's transferring to Wake Forest. He was a starting quarterback for UNC this year. Now goes into the portal. He's playing for Wake Forest. It's in conference. It's in state. Like, it's incredible how commonplace that is because it happened. He went from Chapel Hill to Winston-Salem, and it wasn't even crazy news. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, my gosh, he's transferring in conference. This must be personal.
In conference and in state?
In conference and in state. And I mean, you know, if he's hungry and craving his favorite food from his time at UNC, he could just drive there. Like, it's that close. And even, what was it, 2 years ago when Jordan Waters went from being a running back at Duke to being a running back at State?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, look at this. How incredible. In college football now, it's and I know it's a little different being like in the triangle, but not really. Now it's just kind of commonplace. It's just kind of like, all right, yeah, good luck. We'll see you probably. Like it's that crazy. I was telling Dennis, I saw a fact about Michigan State. Michigan State this year is facing 3 on their schedule if they win the starting positions that they're expected to win. They'll be facing 3 quarterbacks that started for Michigan State, and they'll all be visitors. So Michigan State Stadium will host 3 former Michigan State starting quarterbacks this season. One of them took a little pit stop here at ECU, Caden Hauser, who's now playing for Illinois after going in the portal and announcing his commitment to Illinois. It's crazy. It's wild. One time in college, I was at the University of Delaware FCS level. We had a teammate that transferred to Westchester, which was Division II, and we had a scheduling thing where we ended up playing them. The whole week, we were disguising our signals. We were changing everything. We were quite frankly, a little too over-panicked about an offensive lineman being on the other sideline and being able to go like, it's a run. We thought we had a Connor Stallion situation. So we went way over the top changing it. I imagine you have to change your signals every year now in the NFL. Or sorry, in college football.
Oh, easily.
Because
well, they have the headset stuff now, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but receivers and everything, like hand signals or calls at the line. If you have an offensive lineman that transfers to a rival, your offensive line has to change everything. You want to know what our genius code was? Because we went on either first sound 1, 2, or 3 with our snap cadence. Right, ready? 1, 2, and 3, ice, cream, sundae. So here's what it was. Ice, anything cold. That meant on 1. So our offensive line would take it aggressive. We'd be up there, blizzards. We'd be up there, the other side of the pillow. We'd be up there, just anything cold meant on 1. Cream was any food. You could be up there, fettuccine Alfredo. And then Sunday was anything involving time, calendars.
Okay, makes sense. Like February.
Yeah, so if we had that was all 4 years we had that. Now, couldn't do that. There'd be someone on the other sideline going, did they yell a food? It's on 2. It's ridiculous. Gio Lopez going to Wake Forest. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Panthers going to the playoffs Saturday against the Rams. That and a more specific conversation about some things they can do to shock the world and win the game. Stick around.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-897-4400. That's 800-897-4400.
Let's bring the nail gun over here.
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're exhausted, not just tired, but worn down, this message is for you. I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Across North Carolina, many people wait months, sometimes over a year, just to start sleep care. That wait isn't normal, and it isn't necessary. At Parkway, most patients are seen within weeks, with virtual consultations and home sleep studies that remove unnecessary delays. Sleep care shouldn't have to depend on how long you're willing to wait.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com.
Durham. Sound sleep, sound health.
If you're watching football this weekend, you know how it goes. Somebody's always hungry by the first quarter. So call Pizza Hut and get the Big New Yorker for just $10. Our biggest pizza for the biggest games. These slices are huge, like use two hands and fold it huge. Feed your crew and order ahead at pizzahut.com or in the app.
Pizza Hut!
Ask for limited time offer. Prices, participation, and availability may vary. Additional charge for extra toppings, max 3 and extra cheese. Taxes, tip, and delivery fee not included.
1:15 on the clock. On 3rd and goal from the 12. Young looking around. Looking. He'll take off and run. Now throws to the end zone. McMillan, left corner, makes the catch. Touchdown, Carolina! Touchdown, Carolina!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Carolina Panthers playing the Rams on Saturday. Afternoon Saturday. Take it as disrespect, right? The NFL's like, this one, undercard. Put it on before the real ones. Take it as disrespect.
Normally the Houston Texans spot.
Well,
because the last couple of years has been the Houston Texans Saturday 4:30.
It's a backhanded or a front-handed insult, right? Because it's like nobody wants to watch you, so they always put you in this slot, and you're like, so you're saying we're always in the playoffs? It's true, but it's not a full insult, it's not a full compliment. So the Panthers are playing the afternoon slot on Saturday. The Rams, talking with I would say everybody that's not a diehard Panther fan in my life, right? And there are a lot of diehard Panther fans around here, but we all know people from other markets, people that grew up somewhere else, whatever. There is this kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop feeling with the Rams. Like, you got your one last time. You're not sneaking up on them this time. They're not going to overlook you this time like they did back in week 14 when you caught them slipping. Matt Stafford's not going to turn it over 3 times again. Ha, ha, ha. You know what my message would be to the Carolina Panthers? The Rams might play better this time than they did last time, but you should expect to be way better as well. You know who didn't play in that game where you beat the Rams? Robert Hunt. There was a point in time, actually most of last year, when we would do Panthers cons and cons, or when we would talk about offensive MVPs, where Robert Hunt's name was probably the most mentioned, which says a little bit about what the skill positions we're doing. But Robert Hunt was maybe your best offensive player. He didn't play in that one. You know who else didn't play against the Rams? Pro Bowl cornerback J.C. Horn, the first back-to-back Pro Bowler in about half a decade for the Carolina Panthers. He was in concussion protocol. What about your leading tackler, Christian Roseboom? Nope, he was out with hamstring and hip injuries, and he's actually gotten his hands on the ball a little bit recently, which is the most important thing this defense can do. You know who else didn't play? Trayvon Merrick, the second leading tackler, who was suspended for a hit below the belt on Jawan Jennings, which, by the way, has actually aged kind of nicely. Jawan Jennings has quite a few people across the NFL has come out and saying, like, I'm glad somebody hit him. So if a suspension for hitting a guy in the nether regions could age well, it seems like other guys were saying, no, I get it. I mean, maybe don't do that, but I get it. But all 4 of those guys didn't play against the Rams. I mean, I don't know how you rank your players on the Panthers, but J.C. Horn is one of the 3 best players. Robert Hunt's probably one of the 5 or 6 best players. Trayvon Merrick's probably one of the 7 or 8 best players. And Roseboom, I don't know how high you put him. He's filling in admirably at a position where we did not know what they were going to be doing this year at off-ball linebacker. Now, how many teams in team sports do you think could lose 3, 4, or 5 of their best players and be playing anywhere near their highest potential? Not many, right? So sure, maybe the Rams will play better. Maybe they won't overlook you. Maybe they'll show up ready to roll. Maybe. But there is concrete, tangible reasons why you should expect your play to be not like 1 or 2, like levels above where you were the last time you played the Rams. This is not as cut and dry as everybody's making it out to be. Now, the betting person in me does want to say the Rams are favored for a reason, and I'm very impressed with their roster, their coaching staff. But I always like to use this as an analogy. The Doctor Strange thing. For the spoiler alert, if you haven't watched, I don't even remember what movie it was, but it's years ago now. The one with 14 million different possibilities.
That would be Infinity War, sir.
There you go.
14,605,000.
14,605,000, right? So people can see every different possible outcome. And, in that situation in the movie, dramatic, there was one in which they won, right? They had to follow the one specific path. That's not it for the Panthers. If there's 14,605,000 ways this game plays out, I don't know, they might win 4 million of them, right? It's chances are better. It's not a complete shot in the dark. You have reason to believe you'll play better, just like they have reasons to believe they'll play better. Dave Canales, what would his message, or actually more specifically, he was asked what the message that the veteran guys, some of the ones with a little bit more experience, are spreading to the younger players who are often going into their first postseason game. Here's Dave Canales.
There's great exchanges happening in the building with coaches, with players, player to player, all those things. People who have playoff experience, and for, it's kind of the same message really for me talking to the guys. Like, it is special, and it's important that we recognize that, we lean into it, and we feed off of that energy. That's all right. That's all a part of it. At the same time, we got to keep our head about us, and we have to make sure we execute on the most fundamental parts of it. Because as you can imagine, if you get too excited and caught up in the moment, then you can sacrifice technique. You can sacrifice like the most basic parts, and sometimes you'll go too far, and that's not what I want either. I want everything they got within the whistles, but for the moment of it, it's a special thing.
And with that as the table setting, you better make sure your young guys are ready to control the emotions a little bit, because Bank of America is going to be a rocking. And if it's at a 10 out of 10, when what we are expecting to be Cam Newton steps up to take the mallet and start banging on the keep pounding drum, it's going to go to 14, 15, 25 out of 10 is what that place is going to erupt into. And if you're not prepared to control your emotions, you could be mighty exhausted after like one series. Heart rate going a million miles an hour. Here's Dave Canales on the potential of the only MVP, the only NFL MVP in Panthers history, Cam Newton, returning to pound the drum.
I heard about that. I heard that rumor. For me, it's just we can use all the help we can get. You talk about bringing juice, and that's that momentum and that energy that comes. And I think about Cam. I just think of aura. And like he's the biggest big person. It's not just by his height and size, but also just the personality. And I just if that happens, I think it's amazing, and we can use any type of energy and that enthusiasm. And I know that I know our fans in Bank of America Stadium will be fired up if that does happen.
For a conversation we're gonna have later, I looked up Dave Canales' age today. He's 44. He's
older than me.
He's about 10 years older than me. He pulls off saying aura way better than I do. He's a youthful 44. But he's right? That is aura, and it is something that'll get the crowd rolling. Here's how I imagine Bank of America is going to be on Saturday. This is the best way I can describe, and I think everybody that's ever been to a sporting event will understand. They are going to start the game in the place that crowds are after a basketball team who is playing in a big game against a rival, maybe a little bit of an underdog, when you've scored like 7 straight points and you get a steal and a three-pointer is in the air, right? So your team has the opportunity, ball in the air, and if it goes in, you're now on a 10-0 run against a rival. You're a little bit of an underdog. You just got a defensive stop, and it goes silent for that second because everybody is inhaling to get ready to go absolutely bananas if the shot hits, right? If it clanks off, then But if it goes in, that's how they're going to start, right? Cam will get them worked up into a lather. Everybody's going to be ready to go, and if early in that game somebody makes a gigantic play, A turnover is forced by the defense. A Tetaroa McMillan touchdown maybe mosses somebody. Bryce Young, people want that guy to do well so much. It wouldn't even have to be a super highlight, right? If it's just like a Bryce Young touchdown pass from the 7-yard line to an open wide receiver, place will go crazy. I'm not saying you play call to it, but you might want to try to take advantage of that. Matt Stafford is very, very good. He doesn't have supersonic hearing, and neither do his receivers. So if you can make it loud on third downs, they won't be able to hear, just like bad teams wouldn't be able to hear. It happens. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is just a little look ahead, a little look-see to Saturday's game, and quite frankly, I can't wait. But before we move on, I will take a little bit of a pause here to tell you about Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Miller Lending is really in the interest of, or what they're interested in doing, is making sure that you don't waste your money. Sounds good to me, right? 2 years ago, rates maybe up to 8%, right? Mortgage rates not where you want them to be. And other mortgage lenders might tell you, spend this money, buy down the rate. Here, look at this. Over the length of a 30-year mortgage, you'll make it all back. But guess what? As Miller Lending will tell you, the average mortgage in this country lasts about 4 years. About 4 years before you sell, before you move, before you pay it off, before you refinance. And with that, there's a good chance you don't get your money back. So what Miller Lending does is they offer you a no closing cost loan, a no-cost loan. You can sign up, and if rates fall, you refinance. Again, no cost, no fees, none of that stuff. And you just get the lower monthly payment. So if you were a Miller Lending client and you had to sign up at the peak of the market for an almost 8% rate, guess what? You've probably refinanced twice by now. Now your rate's down in the 6s, and you're feeling much better about it. And you didn't have to spend those thousands of dollars to buy down the rate a couple years ago. That's the stuff they're looking to do. They're looking to save you money. That's just one possible way. Give them a call. They'll tell you more. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2502146. Up next, the Dean's List here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. Don't go anywhere.
Avatar Fire and Dash has arrived.
I am the fire!
Get your 3D tickets now for the greatest chapter of the biggest saga in history.
Whatever happens, protect his family.
Critics rave it's by far the best Avatar movie.
If your father and I do not return, you go as far and as fast as you can.
Movies don't get any bigger than this. Avatar Fire and Dash, rated PG-13, now playing.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like rugs. People say a rug would really bring the room together. And sure, you don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Suddenly you're using words like jute and sisal. Then you see the price and lose it, because how can the thing you walk and spill on cost so much? So you devote your life to taking down Big Rug. But then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds. So, looks like Big Rug is safe. For now. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
So 19-8 as Bogavants gets the steal. He'll kick it ahead to Trimble on the catch and finish. Seth way up in the air for the throwdown.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. We've been talking about the Carolina Panthers taking on the Rams all day today. And guess what? You can talk about it all day Saturday as 99.9 The Fan and Carolina Ale House are hosting a playoffs watch party on Saturday afternoon. Join Paul Ihander at the Wake Forest location for the Carolina wildcard game at 4:30 p.m. While you're there, grab a drink, grab some food. They have specials every day of the week. Great company, great people hanging out. Paul, that's Paul Ihander, will also have stuff to give away at halftime.
Okay.
Hopefully it's celebration vibes and not like, well, you could at least have some free stuff.
As you're leaving.
Yeah, as it's like, well, this one's over. No, maybe it's over in the other direction. Let's not rule that out. Maybe the Panthers are up 31.5. Bring the family Saturday and all your friends for the playoffs watch party at the Carolina Ale House in Wake Forest. Say hi to Paul while you're there. Hang out with him and get some of that free stuff. That's my advice to you. My advice to you also right now is to get ready for the Dean's List. Dean's List, where we give a little extra praise, pass along a few extra accolades to those in the college sports world that we hold so near and dear here in the Triangle deserve. And for the first time in a while, we have an auto Dean's Lister.
Okay, go on.
The Wooden Award, which goes to, it's like the Heisman of college basketball, right? Player of the Year. Put out their mid-season top 25. 2 players from the Triangle are on it. They are both freshmen.
Okay. Think I know where you're going.
Of course, we are talking about Cameron Boozer and Caleb Wilson.
Makes sense.
Listed in alphabetical order. The top 25 that they put out is not in order. It is just the kind of the mid-season watch list. The Dean's List, we do have a rule that if a local college athlete is named to a watch list for an award or is given an award, they are automatically Dean's Listers. Fun fact, though, of the 25 mid-season top 25 names, 9 are freshmen. It's a really impressive freshman class, especially now that Darren Peterson is healthy and playing at Kansas again and lighting it up. It is a really, really impressive freshman class, which I think is going to make for a really fun postseason once most of them reach that point, because there's always a little extra tension when freshmen are involved, right? You never know. As good as they are, as talented as they are, you just never know. So I think there's going to be more than a couple of them playing main character roles when the lights are brightest, and thus it is shown on the Wooden Award midseason top 25. More Dean's List. You ready? Miami Hurricanes. Need one.
Let's go.
One. Beat Ole Miss.
Let's go.
Need one. 7:30 p.m. Arizona college football playoff tonight. Need one. Also, do you know what else I like about Miami?
What's that?
I'm not the biggest Miami fan. Matter of fact, not a Miami fan at all. But I am a fan of sticking it to Clemson and Florida State for suing the ACC.
Yeah.
So I'm going to explain to you how this all happened. Clemson and Florida State sued the ACC a bunch of different ways and changed the way. Their lawsuit, they didn't win, but what it led to is they changed the way revenues are distributed in the ACC. Because of that, the ACC is giving all of the college football playoff money that Miami has earned that would normally be chopped up and distributed to all the teams. They're giving it all to Miami, right? Because Florida State and Clemson were thinking, we're the ones that are always in the CFP, and we always got to share our money with Pittsburgh and Syracuse. So they fought to change that. And now Miami is the team who has won games and made it to the CFP, and there's $14 million plus more for each win. And they're looking at Clemson and Florida State going, yeah, I wish I could share this with you, but actually you changed the rules, so I'm just going to keep it all. Now, it would be nice for the teams that we really care about to get a little bit of that coinage, but as long as Clemson and Florida State are getting messed over, I'm in. Way to go, Miami.
Let's go.
Way to
go, Miami tonight.
Not to mention, Clemson and Florida State had to pay for a bunch of legal fees to enact that change.
Yeah.
And now Miami's like, we didn't have to pay for it.
Sure.
We just get the money.
You know who actually got a lot of attention this season, a lot of games watched or viewership? It's Georgia Tech.
Yeah. I mean,
Georgia Tech had a lot of viewership this season on some of their games.
And
including against Miami. Go figure.
I was going to say.
Start the year.
And the big old brands in college football especially, I think are learning that the big old brands don't mean what they used to. You actually have to be interesting now.
There are not a lot of kids out there that know about Florida State football in terms of how good they used to be. I know they had the national championship about 10 years ago.
The Jameis.
Yeah, but if I was 4 years old, do I really remember that? Or 5 years old, does that resonate with me? No, it probably doesn't.
I mean, but it's been longer since Georgia Tech won a title. But
yeah,
Georgia Tech this year was interesting. Like Haynes King wasn't the best quarterback in the world, but he was fun to watch. Brent Key isn't. I don't know if he's the best coach in the world, but he's interesting. Billy Napier, not interesting, doesn't have a job. Or Mike Norvell, not interesting, does have a job. There's interesting things are more important now. Do you have some Dean's listers you'd like to throw out here?
There are some ACC football, or some players that made some ACC All-American lists. ACC football players that made some All-American lists. I can't remember if we touched on it a little bit a while back, but
let's hear it.
Francis Mauigoa was a consensus All-American, as well as Ruben Bay and guys that are playing tonight. So I want to make sure I get those guys got a shout out.
Francis Mauigoa is an interesting one for me, and this is going to tie into one of my Dean's listers. So Francis Mauigoa, we heard about very early on. I forget what his brother's name is.
So we talked to his brother at ACC kickoff a couple years ago.
Yes, when Francis was a incoming freshman. And his brother was like, oh, you guys better get ready. Talking about it, his brother was a 5-star and had gone to IMG. And it was kind of, I always...
Kiko is his older brother.
There you go. I always put a pin in those and go like, all right, let me see. Right, let me see if this brother was just being a brother, or see if he really knew something. He really knew something. Francis Mauigoa is a monster. 6'6", 320, quick feet. The NFL is drooling over him. But before you have that opportunity, he's going to finish it out in the CFP for Miami. So it's kind of fun. And along those lines, not only the ACC kickoff, but we go to ACC tournaments, ACC championships, that sort of thing. And throughout the year, for college basketball, we watch the 3 teams in the triangle. We pay a lot of attention to Wake Forest, some of the teams that they battle with, Louisville this year. But I also always keep my antennas up for somebody across the ACC, maybe across the country, that I'm like, I want to make sure I catch one of their games in the ACC tournament. In years past, it's been Peja Stojakovic's son, Andrei Stojakovic. It's like, I want to make sure I catch that guy one time. Quentin Post was that way. It's 7-footer who's now playing with the Warriors. I'm putting Ebuka Okori, Stanford freshman guard, on that list. Hat tip to Brendan Marks, who covers the ACC and triangle basketball as well, for pointing this out. Last night, Stanford had a flying from behind comeback victory over Virginia Tech, 69-68. At one point, Okori, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing, I didn't watch the game, but I want to watch more of it. He scored or assisted on 40 of the Cardinals' last 42 points. At one point in time, a freshman had scored or assisted on 40 of 42 points. He's averaging 22.5, 3.5, and 3. So 22.5 points, 3.5 assists, 3 rebounds. I want to say this again. He's a freshman for Stanford. I want to catch a couple of his games. I want to watch. I want to see. I want to know if it's real. And then last Dean's Lister. This news just came across my feed. Jason Witten.
Okay.
Obviously, former Cowboy, legendary tight end. One of the all-time receptions guys. I think he's 4th or 5th all-time. He's a finalist to go into the Hall of Fame this year. He has been hired by the University of Oklahoma to be their tight ends coach.
Really?
For On 3. And the reason why I like it is Witten, he did have one kind of disastrous year in the media on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, he did.
But other than that, he's been kind of talked about a ton as a future coach. Likable guy, knows the offense, whatever. I respect the heck that he's like, I'm sure he could have gotten an NFL job. I'm sure he could have used his name, thrown around his weight, and maybe grabbed more responsibility, bit off more than he could chew. I respect the heck that he's like, I'm going to college. I'm going to be a tight ends coach. I'm a former tight end. And I'm going to learn the ropes before I force my way to be a play caller or a head coach somewhere, right? He could have done that. I like that he's going to go, If you ask me to chop down a tree in 8 hours, I'm going to spend the first 6 hours sharpening my axe. Like, I like that he's going to go get the tools sharpened up before he takes the big swing, which I think he probably learned from his media career. I bet you he wishes he was doing, like, Maction on a Wednesday as a color commentator before being thrown into Monday Night Football, right? You got to go sharpen your tools before going to the biggest stage. So shout out to Jason Witten for living and learning. And also he might go into the Hall of Fame, which is probably this year as a first ballot, which is probably a good recruiting tool for Oklahoma. There you go. That's it for the Dean's List. Dismissed. Up next, not only are the Panthers having a really exciting weekend, there's also a really exciting night for the Carolina Hurricanes. They're taking on the Anaheim Ducks at home. What questions do I have about that game? And maybe Dennis and I can come up with some answers. Next.
Hey, it's Amanda, and I'm back again with Coach Pete. Coach, what if I know someone like my dad who's about to be 60 and he wants to retire at maybe 62? Instead of retiring at 67, he's going to take that hit.
Yep.
What would you tell him?
Well, it's a retirement dilemma, we call it, because everyone's different. Everyone has their own situation. So if you have a lot of money saved up somewhere else, you can retire as early as you want, and then you're probably talking about when should they file for Social Security, start getting that payment from Social Security. You get less the earlier you apply for it and get it, but if you have a lifespan that's not too long, you get your money's worth by getting it as early as possible. So it's a case-by-case basis, Amanda, but the main thing is have your own lifetime income established ahead of time, and then Social Security is just icing on the cake, gravy on the steak, we call it. So it's a total income plan we'll put together. We'll do it for all of you listening if you call right now.
919-794-7900. 919-794-7900. Or text Amanda to 600-700.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website. Gutter helmets right on the front of the website. Do you have a gutter helmet to fit my head? I have a small head.
We have a gutter helmet for every head, Adam. So anyhow, if you give us a call, we'll come out and take a look at your windows, doors, siding, roofing, gutters, and of course we can do the gutter helmet. We have financing programs that are really good. So we have like 12 months with 0 payments for 12 months. You don't have to pay anything. So if you're thinking about home improvements and you're thinking you're saving up for it, just come on and see us, and we'll go ahead and get you set up and get your project done, and you can pay in 12 months from now.
I feel like you're speaking directly to me. If it's for the exterior of your home, there is no better place than the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can find them online, aluminumcompany.com. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, and the world-famous gutter helmets. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, 1-800-672-4348.
Rascal Flats. Life is a Highway Tour 2026. January 15th, Lenovo Center, Raleigh.
Like the sound of that.
Country music's greatest vocal group, Rascal Flats.
I like the sound of
Back on the road. With special guests Chris Lane and Lauren Elena. On sale now at livenation.com. Rascal Flats Live, presented by Live Nation.
Across Ehlers back, they score! On the power play! A beautiful pass, Nikolai Ehlers, and Andrei Svechnikov buries it!
All right, so here's how I see our conversation right now about the hockey night in Carolina that's going on tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes hosting Anaheim, a game that is, I think, going to be a really exciting one. I think Anaheim has some young up-and-comers that are going to be really fun to watch. But it's also not a very familiar team for the Canes, right? Not a team that, you play an in-division team or something like that. You feel like you can predict everything you're going to see and how they're going to play. So it's a bit more of kind of like focus on you, right? Like hey, we got to play our game and hopefully it's enough rather than all scouting report and everything else. I think this is a game or I think we can play a game to get us ready for the game, okay? I just have questions. It's kind of like 20 questions, right? I just thought about all the things that I'm interested in this game, and I'm going to ask them. And Dennis, if you have some insight, we'll talk our way through. Okay,
let's do it.
You just played a little highlight there. Goal on the power play.
Mm-hmm.
is this the new power play, or is it just the ebbs and flows of a power play? Because they've been scoring at a ridiculous. The other night, I mean, I watched all of the goals, right? I was watching the game, saw them all live, but at one point I wanted to see, I forget what, I checked the stats. 3 power play goals was like, whoa, they scored 3. I know they're playing well, but 3 is a ton. They've been finding the net at a much higher rate than they were earlier in the year when they have the advantage. Is this now like, oh, it's all clicked, they figured it out? Turns out playing 37 or whatever it is year-old Jordan Stahl for face-offs was the silver bullet, the magic elixir, and it's all fixed? Or are we like, is the regression going to hit as hard as the come-up?
Well, I asked Rod about that actually after Tuesday's game, and here's what Rod Brindamore himself had to say post-game.
You know, I wish I could say, yeah, we're doing this better. It's maybe pucks are going in. You know, we've tweaked things, obviously. We've moved pieces around a little, but, yeah, I don't know. I wish I had an answer to tell you this is what was doing it, because we would have done it a long time ago. It's just, you know, stick with what you know we got to do. And like I say, we've been getting some pucks to go in now that weren't necessarily going in before.
That makes me feel fantastic. Right, and it's the same thing. Keandre Miller hadn't scored in a billion years, and he had 2 last game, and they asked him about it. He was like, I don't know, shoot the puck, get lucky. Like, they know more about hockey. Rod Brindamore knows more about hockey. He's forgotten more than we'll ever know. And I kind of respect him going like, yeah, you know what, we're just making better shots. They're just going in.
You got to think this recent stretch has been mostly without Jarvis, too. He's missed 8 games.
Yep, and trust me, I know you upset the apple cart. Jarvis doesn't make it worse. I guarantee that much.
He scored on the power play last game.
I guarantee he doesn't make it worse. So the power play is a question just because it's like, it's kind of like Bussy's first 8 games. You're like, I want to get really excited about this, but I also understand certain things won't go on forever. Next question. If Jacob Slavin is back, and he did skate in a non-contact sweater yesterday, who's the inactive? Who's the pairings? Like, we had these conversations leading into the season quite a bit, and then as hockey often does, they smack you in the face as a sport and says you're worried about the wrong things, right? We debated who was going to skate with who was going to skate offhanded, who could bring along Nikishin the best, and what the 3 pairings on the defensive line or on the blue line should be. And then a week in, it was like they're in survival mode. Anybody healthy, get out there and play. Sean Walker, you're playing 28 minutes or whatever he was doing there for a while. But if Slavin is back, we kind of get to rehash those old questions, right? We get to rehash the lines and who should skate with who and what does he bring and how does everyone else fit together. So I guess my first question will be simple. If you had the lineup card, who's Jacob Slavin skating with? Because at the beginning of the year, we were both very excited about Walker Slavin.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, guys have had to take on different roles. Guys have been thrust into different roles, and they've maybe earned more responsibility, maybe proven that they can handle different things. Has it changed at all?
I actually really like when Slavin and Nikishin were paired up last time when Slavin came back. I really liked that a lot. Because I think it allowed Nikishin to be, hey, you got Jacob Slavin next to you. You could be a little bit more aggressive offensively, and we saw some results of that, getting him, especially even just in the offensive zone as a whole, not even just on the rush. I don't mind that.
I don't hate that.
I don't mind it, especially because Gostisbehere and Chatfield have played well together, and Miller and Walker have played well together.
That's interesting. Every question leads to a question. I think that's very plausible. And by the way, Nikishin was kind of skating with the where you might expect the healthy extra to be skating yesterday, but that doesn't mean anything set in stone for today. Especially if they ramp up Slavin, if he's not skating his normal minutes, I think that makes a lot of sense. But I don't want them skating together if they want to limit Nikishin's minutes, so they end up limiting that pairing's minutes.
Well, they did that last time because remember,
it was a
basically
ramp up. Yep.
Slavin was on that pitch count.
Yep. So if that's the case for a little bit, I'm all in on
I'm
what
all
you're
in
saying.
on it too.
Next question. Freddie Anderson, if he's in net, adjusting expectations. What is a good night for Freddie Anderson? Like, I don't even I know what a debacle looks like for Freddie Anderson, and I know when that moment, right, the second soft goal goes in where everybody just goes, oh no, it's happening again. And then my Twitter lights up with people going, it's Freddie this, Freddie that. What does a good night for Freddie Anderson look like? And we are, tentatively expecting him to be in net tonight.
Just getting a win.
Just
getting a win. Like, he literally just needs a win. That's plain and simple, just needs a win.
Because was it the Colorado game? He was good for the most part, and then it wasn't.
There were breakdowns in front of him.
I agree with that too. I think that was kind of for his mentals like a kind of solid game, especially when judging for opponent and their skill level. So that I think he just needs something to latch on to move forward with any kind of confidence. I want to talk Logan Stankoven.
All right.
Logan Stankoven, I think, early on in the season, everybody was very excited by the potential he showed as a second-line center. He was kind of given that opportunity. And then that excitement waned. He moved back to the wing, and he's kind of bouncing around a little bit depending on game to game. Yesterday, last game against Dallas, puts the move on Mikko Rantanen, scores the goal, gets the chance. Everybody's excited again. Can he keep that vibe going? Like, was there anything about that performance or that goal even, right? If it's just that one super bright spot that says this can unlock something that we haven't seen from Logan in a while. What do you have, 5 goals in the postseason last year? I think it's going to carry over to next year. This is going to be awesome. Maybe hype got a little aggressive, but still, I think we need to see more from Logan Stankoven.
He even talked about it last game in the post game about how it's like, look, I'm still 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still figuring this thing out. Like, I'm still figuring out the NHL. I'm still trying to figure this thing out. And I actually talked to Rod about this about a month or so ago. And even Trip Tracy. And I asked him, I said, do we have to remind ourselves that Logan Stankoven is a second-year full-time player? So he's still very young in that regard, because this is his second full-time season. It's also his first full-time season with the Carolina Hurricanes, and it's also first season playing center at this level. He played it in juniors and all that, but he's still adapting to new location, new team, and new position, all at the same time at a very, very young age. It's not going to happen overnight. And Rod said, overall, he's adapting well, but some of the stuff that people are expecting, it might take a little time. Like, don't be shocked that if in 2 years you're still seeing a young guy that's developing, especially when it comes to face-offs and some of the nuances of it. But they see that as a long-term projection from him.
It is the gift and the curse that he deals with. I think Jackson Blake deals with it. I think Seth Jarvis used to deal with it, which is when you are a super, I'm talking on-ice hockey, mature, I don't know what they're like personally, right? We saw the little off-season and the Behind the Storm video on YouTube, right? He and Jackson Blake going to spend some money on some fashion items. But on the ice, when you're such a mature player, we do forget you're 22, but also the coaching staff trusts you in moments that they usually wouldn't trust a 22-year-old, right? So it's the gift is you're mature enough that they give you more opportunities in moments where some rookies wouldn't. But the curse of it is when you make a rookie mistake, we're like, what? No, that's not allowed, even though you're a second-year player and you're 22 years old. So it is, you get both sides of it. Last question here that I have written down. 2 months until the trade deadline, almost exactly. I think it's March 6th this year. So creeping up there, right? I like talking about the trade deadline in loose terms after good games because it's like the opposite of grocery shopping when you're hungry, right? After a loss is particularly a bad one. You're like, get rid of him. It's all emotion, right? Just like I'm hungry and I'm walking through the aisles, everything's going in the cart. After a win, though, you're a bit more measured. Obviously, and then there's an article out today, Kotkaniemi is one of the more likely to be traded in the league, according to writers, whoever it is, national media. Do you think after a good game, right, vibes are high, there's a chance they make the type of move that really shocks us?
A win as opposed to a loss?
I like talking about the trade deadline after wins because after losses, you're just like, get rid of him. That guy, he turned it over at center ice, get him out of here. But after a nice win where vibes were high, you talk about, I think it's a bit more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
just the trade deadline, as it gets closer, you start to draw up the hypotheticals. Obviously, there's some guys with some very high trade value. If you want to bring in big prizes, you got to spend big money. Do you think there's the possibility that there's the gigantic, almost not Miko level, but the one that makes the rest of the league open their eyes?
I could see it. There's also the Olympic trade deadline freeze where rosters freeze during the Olympics. So there's kind of like a little small deadline at February 4th. So we're less than a month away in that regard. So February 4th to February 22nd, rosters are frozen in the NHL because of the Olympics. So you can't trade anybody. So I think in my eyes, if you're going to try and get a move done, you want to get it done before the Olympics. Because at least it buys you a little bit of time, because then you have the short period from February 22nd to March 6th to make any additional moves that you want to do. So to me, I think February 4th that deadline actually coming up in my eyes actually might push things to activate a little bit sooner.
In which case, we're going to have these conversations more often.
Yeah, I mean, we're really talking, less than 4 weeks now?
That's a pretty good ticking clock in the corner of the screen of the thriller. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is a little Canes talk ahead of their game tonight, which you can hear right here on 99.9 The Fan. And also, you can get your first goal scorer predictions in on our YouTube live stream comments. Who's going to score the first goal tonight for Carolina and in what period? And we'll take callers on that in about a half hour. When we come back, it's football at 4. We compare and contrast Dave Canales with his Saturday counterpart, Sean McVay. Stick around.
Pondering prizes with Cash Pop? Why pick just one pop when you can pick as many pops as you please? Up to 15. Picture this. You pick your pop, perhaps a powerful 7. Now pick more pops like a proud 9, a pristine 15, a perfect 10. Each pop propagates more potential to pack your pockets with prizes up to $2,500. So prepare for a peppering of prizes with Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Cash Pop. Play more pops, win more prizes. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds charts at nclottery.com. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543. It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Increasing clouds through the afternoon. Not quite as warm as yesterday, but still on the comfortable side with a high of 63. Overnight low is well above freezing. We'll see 47 and a nice warm day tomorrow. The clouds do hang around, but we'll see highs in the low 70s.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka. Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, up 269 points to 49,265.
Let's move the chains Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We're talking Panthers. And Dave Canales, head coach, Carolina Panthers. Sean McVay, head coach, Los Angeles Rams. I don't think many, if you were to group coaches together, and tier them out or something in the NFL, would put those guys in the same tier. But they have certain similarities. And I was kind of comparing, contrasting today, and I found it interesting, so I'm going to pass it along to you. They're kind of similar as people. And there are kind of similar style of coaches. I'm not going to say quality, right? Sean McVay's resume is so much more impressive. Super Bowl, bunch of wins, impact, everything else. But hear me out here, okay? Both relatively young for being head coaches in the NFL. Although I will say this, when I looked up their ages, it is bananas that Sean McVay is still 5 years younger than Dave Canales. When Dave Canales took over, it was like he was the head coach that wore joggers. You know what I mean? Like he was the young coach compared to all these old grizzled coaches. And Sean McVay's been a head coach forever, and he's still younger than Dave Canales.
Yeah, McVay's only about 5 months older than me.
No disrespect to you. That's crazy that Sean McVay's done everything he can do at that age.
He's way more of an accomplished coach than I was as a college lacrosse coach. I can tell you that.
But you're a better lacrosse coach, huh?
I don't know.
Man, true.
I don't know.
True. And we're being real. If he joined media, he'd make $20 million a year next year to be a color commentator somewhere. So they're both relatively young for being head coaches. They are both seen as offensive gurus. That's why they were given the jobs they were given at the time they were given those jobs. Both were brought in for year 2 of a number 1 overall pick after an established longtime head coach created an absolute circus in that year 1 number 1 overall pick's career, right? With Jared Goff and Jeff Fisher, and with Bryce Young and with Frank Reich, right? So you're looking at that going, all right, a little interesting here, right? Little bit. They both come from coaching trees, right? McVay coming from the Shanahan coaching tree, and Dave Canales coming from the Pete Carroll coaching tree. They both, if you want to get superficial with it, they appear like they make sure their beards are just so before they leave the house. They're keeping some hair gel companies in business, if you know what I'm getting at. They both are relatively fit. They're not the cliche of the coach with the Cheeto dust on their belly as they're watching film in the dark, right? They're probably got a walking treadmill at their desk while they watch film. They're a certain type of coach, certain archetype of coach. Now, here's where it gets interesting. McVay's second year, they made it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Your birthday today?
Paul Ihender just walked in and asked me if it's my birthday, and it is my birthday today. He's on YouTube now. He brought me some cake. Brought me some cake. Thank you very much, Paul. Now, Dennis, you're going to talk while I eat, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just say that, Tim Donnelly, it's his birthday today. Congratulations to you, Tim.
Thank you.
I know it's funny. For your birthday, we actually had a retirement party for one of our coworkers today for your birthday.
Hey,
hence why there's cake.
Matter of fact, speaking of longevity and more impressive careers, shout out to Lori, 44 years here, having a retirement party today.
Lori, who works on our production, so the commercials and stuff that you hear, she's one of the people that's in charge of putting those together and all those kinds of stuff. So she does a fantastic job. And like I said, 44 years here at Capital Broadcasting, and she's retiring. So you know what? There's a lot of people behind the scenes that you don't hear on the air. Actually, you probably have heard her voice on some different stuff at different times. But nonetheless.
That's true, too.
Shout out.
So to pair the two conversations we just had, I'm 35 years old today, right? Hey, there we go, getting old. Dave Canales is 44, and Lori's been working here since Dave Canales was born and basically 10 years before I was. So congratulations to her on a great run. Congratulations on a retirement. Going back to what we were saying, though, the similarities are there between Sean McVay and Dave Canales. In year 2, McVay made it all the way to the Super Bowl, okay? Now, his roster was impressive, right? I'm not going to run through it, but they had a very good roster. Jared Goff was their quarterback. He glowed them up, right, and got them all the way to the Super Bowl. In that Super Bowl, Sean McVay got his lunch taken by Bill Belichick. That offense with Todd Gurley and a very impressive play caller in Sean McVay, he was the wonderkin. Everybody was excited. Bill Belichick ate his lunch, took the lunch money, stuffed him in a locker. They scored 3 points in that game. 3. Lessons hard learned, right? And Sean McVay, I believe, because of that loss, is one of the best coaches in the league now. And he did go on to win a Super Bowl. And are you ready for this? If we like the timelines, they're lining up, right? Because now I wouldn't say, the Panthers, follow the timeline. He's going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. But the Panthers are now in the postseason, which for the Panthers roster, I think is kind of a similar coaching job to the Rams making the Super Bowl that year. They don't have the best running back in the league in Todd Gurley, and they don't have all these other things. So here's the deal. Dave Canales might get his lunch taken on Saturday. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying he might. And if he does, it's not the end of the world. Sean McVay has outcoached really, really good coaches, much more experienced coaches. In big games, he has, quote unquote, taken the lunch and stuffed them in the locker of really good coaches. You don't want it to happen, but sometimes you need it to happen. Right? Sometimes you have to get beat like that, or sometimes you have to get outcoached like that. And I think it hardens you to making the tough decisions. Because do you know what else Sean McVay has done since then? They made it to the Super Bowl, right? Unbelievable season. Next year, they win 9 games, and this was back in the 16-game schedule. The next year, they win 10 games. You know what they did that offseason? They traded Jared Goff. They traded Jared Goff and 2 first-round picks for Matt Stafford. So think about this. Made a Super Bowl, won 9 games, won 10 games, changed quarterbacks. Why? Because Jared Goff was a good quarterback. Do not let anybody think that Sean McVay thought Jared Goff was a scrub and that's why they traded him. It's because I believe, looking back on those 4 years that he had with Goff, he understood good quarterback wasn't good enough. If he wanted to get over the hump, if he wanted to win the Super Bowl, if he wanted to get back there and not have his lunch taken by a defensive-minded coach, he needed a great, and he traded for Matt Stafford, and he gave up 2 first-round picks for it. 2 of them. And one of those picks ended up being pretty high because they misjudged it. But that is the move. And then I think it was year 5, they eventually went on to win the Super Bowl for McVay, and the whole thing changed, and now he's in a different stratosphere, and people compare him to like a young John Madden, and he's still young, and he's still one of the best coaches in the league. So Dave Canales, best case scenario, he eats Sean McVay's lunch, right? And he outcoaches him, and he proves he's way, way better than many of us think. Second best option may be you learn the hard lessons. You get hardened like a crab apple, right? And you learn we got to make some real tough decisions here, right? Because I actually, and this will be my final point here, I actually think there is the possibility that the Panthers making the postseason for long-term vision could cloud their judgment a bit, right? It could make decision makers think they're closer to winning a Super Bowl than they are. It could lead them more to let's run it back. Things are going well. When in actuality, I still think they are a few big decisions and big changes away, and maybe big swings for home runs in a few different places away from actually being a contender. And I think that was a lesson hard learned by McVay. Right, he made it all the way to the Super Bowl and then realized how far away he was from winning a Super Bowl, and I think that spurred some really big, tough decisions that they had to make. So Canales could learn that the hard way. I'm not saying he will. I'm saying he could, and I think that's why Sean McVay has such a exceptionally high reputation across the league, because very early on, he wasn't stubborn. He wasn't, I know the right way. It was, no, if I did something wrong, let's fix it. Let's change it. Let's take a big swing. Let's go all in to win. And they've done it. And ironically, now that team that was known for not caring about having draft picks and all this other stuff has one of the more talented rosters in the league. And they have the Falcons' first-round pick, and they have another first-round pick. And they're set up to sustain this window for a while, as long as Matt Stafford can stay healthy or they can find a replacement.
By the way, similarities between that Rams team and Dave Canales, like you mentioned. That was Sean McVay's second year as a head coach when they went to the Super Bowl. That was Jared Goff's third season, former number one overall pick.
Yep.
Just saying.
They were, and the coach McVay and Canales were brought in second year.
Yeah, exactly.
To reclaim after a long-time, kind of more trusted head coach had failed miserably year one with
Jeff
that quarterback.
Fisher,
Yep.
Frank Reich.
It's very similar. The only difference is kind of the Panthers roster, I think, was a decent amount worse when he took it over compared to the Rams. But there's a lot of similarities there in how they've come up. A lot of them.
By the way, Jared Goff in his third year, second year under McVay, threw for 4,688 yards.
That was
32 touchdowns that season.
That was when McVay got the real glow.
Yeah.
When he took the first 7 games of Goff's career under Fisher looked awful.
Oh, yeah.
And then within, 20 months or something, he was slinging it. And that's a lot of credit to McVay. And even McVay, knowing he could do that with Goff, still ended up making the move for Matt Stafford, which is not an easy decision. And it worked out swimmingly.
Yeah, him in that front office, it's a heck of a move.
Worked out swimmingly. Maybe Dan Morgan and Brantillis and Dave Canales will have to make a more difficult decision in the future. Only time will tell. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a tough decision. I'm going to give you an easy one. Call Manor Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Manor Service Company. That's easy, right? The hard decisions, you got to get together with your family. You got to talk it over. You got to work it out. You got to, are we really going to trade our first-round quarterback? That's not easy. Easy is, let's get Manor Service Company. Let's call them. Let's get them out here for some service and maintenance on our heating system, our cooling system. Have them get to know our house a little bit for plumbing and electric, just so the local hometown service company, if there is a problem, we already have that relationship. And hopefully they can help prevent a problem, right? They know how to do the checks. They know how to make sure that the things are maintained correctly, so you might be able to avoid those big problems. It's things that we can think of, but we often don't. Like if you walk out to your when's the last time you looked at your HVAC unit outside? If it's been a while, do you think maybe a plant is growing there and there's a branch going into the fan, right? Those things need to be checked up on. And that's just the most surface level, right? When you start unscrewing things and taking covers off, there's even more in there to be serviced. So Manor Service Company, they want to be a part of your home ownership. They want to help you keep things running smoothly. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. Give them a call. 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Up next, we have Panthers cons and cons. What are you most confident? What are you most concerned about for the Carolina Panthers going into the postseason? And at 4:33, we'll open up the phone lines for first goal scorer predictions. Who scores the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes, and in what period do they score it? If you haven't done so already, start thinking about it. That's all coming up next right here on The Drive.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Anaheim.
Oh, between the legs, Miller! He scores!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Stars on the front. Dear Bussy! What a save! Sam Steele! Meet the bus driver. He's not letting you on tonight.
On your official audio home of Hurricanes hockey, 99.9 The Fan.
When sleep isn't working, everything feels harder. Your health, your patience, your focus, even your relationships. I'm Megan Giggling with Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Too often, people are told to wait months or even years just to talk to a sleep specialist, but untreated sleep problems don't wait. At Parkway, care begins within weeks with home sleep studies and fast, coordinated support, so people can move forward instead of staying stuck. Better sleep changes everything.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com. Sound sleep, sound health.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you very much, Dennis. It is my birthday today. You know what I can... First of all, and also because it came up on air a couple of minutes ago, thank you to everybody on Twitter for and Facebook and everything that is reaching out in the last few minutes. I appreciate it. Another trip around, all those things. Do you know, I guarantee you there's at least a handful of people that are listening right now that are thinking.
What's that?
Because every time, I wouldn't say every time. 1 out of every 12 times somebody finds out my birthday, they say the same thing. It's Elvis's birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I have the same birthday as Elvis, and people that like Elvis really know his birthday.
Okay.
They'll tell me, like, oh, you're so lucky. You share a birthday with the king. I'm just like, all right, appreciate it.
I had no control over it, but all right.
And Jason Giambi. But that's a whole other story. I don't know. Both kind of slick their hair back and are known for different things.
You know what? We should ask when we do numbers game later on today. We always ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite cake? You know, birthday
Ooh.
cake? Favorite cake? What is your go-to birthday cake?
You're going to be mad.
Why?
I'm an ice cream cake guy.
Okay.
Aren't you? You're just somebody that says that's just ice cream, it's not cake?
Yeah.
If I had to pick an
actual cake?
Like an actual cake.
Not ice cream?
I've come around on it. My wife is a very big fan of red velvet. I've come around on red velvet. Wasn't always the favorite, but maybe it's like a little Stockholm syndrome. Like I've just had it enough that now I do really enjoy it. So I put red velvet at the top there.
Yellow cake, chocolate icing, with a tall glass of ice cold 2% milk. Ugh, give it to me. Happy birthday.
Light on the icing. I'm big on light icing.
Yeah, likewise.
I don't need the flowers on top that are just mouthfuls of icing.
Yeah, I don't need it.
I'll leave that on the side. I'll scrape it off. Either way, thank you, everybody, for the birthday wishes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Do you know what I would love for my birthday?
What's that?
A Panthers win. It would be so exciting to they need to be undefeated in my age 35 year, which would obviously lead to a Super Bowl and beyond. But I'll take a win in the first round. All right, I'll settle. And with that, let's jump into Panthers cons and cons.
But to play great defense, you need one thing above all else. That starts with a W. Confidence.
What are you most confident about? What are you most concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Panthers? Which, let's just say, it's awesome that we get to do this into January, right? By this point, normally we're going, all right, don't have to do any more Panthers cons and cons till like the draft, till free agency comes through. So they've earned another cons and cons, and we'll dive in. Again, the 2 questions that need singular answers, right? You can be concerned about a lot of things, but you got to pick what you're most concerned about. The 2 questions are, what are you most concerned about, and what are you most confident about for the Carolina Panthers? And as always, when someone says, I have good news and bad news, which do you want? You always ask for the bad news first. So we start with concerns. Dennis, why don't you go ahead and lead off?
A lot of concerns. Obviously, run game being one. A lot of different factors in this. My biggest concern is Sean McVay gets a second crack at you.
Yep.
That is a legit concern because you know he's going to sit there and go, well, all right, we put up 28 points on them. We were able to get into the red zone 6 times. We still came away with a loss. Obviously, there's the turnovers by Matt Stafford. He's not going to do that again, most likely, because 3 turnovers is a very, very, very rare thing to happen. But also, he's going to look and say, well, we beat them in the run game in these areas and these areas. Here's how we can get better time of possession, because Carolina possessed the ball 11 minutes longer than the Rams did in the first matchup. I don't see that happening again, because Sean McVay gets a second crack at you, and he's a genius. That's my concern.
Mine is similar. Only it's more playing than coaching. My concern is Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. That is a strength-on-strength matchup. I think the secondary for the Panthers has been a very pleasant surprise this year. but I worry that in a strength-on-strength matchup, their strength might be more strong than the Panthers' strong. And if Puka and Devontae have big games and you don't match with like the pick six you had the last time you played, if it's just the one-handed catches by Puka and the goal line quick hitters to Devontae Adams, one of your strengths just became wiped out, right? And you need your strengths to shine, right? You need your stars to play like stars. And, it would be a bummer if your stars are outshined by their stars at certain positions. So Puka and Devontae, different points in their career, but still exceptional. Devontae Adams' route running is crazy, and Puka Nakua's, his hand strength has to be ridiculous. Those little gripper things, he has to just be sitting around all day because his strength at the point of catch is absolutely insane, and he's really good run after the catch. So those two guys are concerning to me. Or I gotta just said, I guess I have to pick one. The wide receivers.
Yeah,
there you go.
Wild that he was a 5th round pick.
Yeah. First of all, he started at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he was there with an insane wide receiving core, right? If you look at the guys that he was behind, really tough. And then he went to BYU, and for whatever reason, it didn't pop on screen. I'm gonna actually hat tip to Les Snead and Sean McVay. I think that's the GM's name. They were one of the first. It was behind the scenes when they were drafting Puka, and it's changed the way I evaluate pre-draft, where he ran a slow 40. Puka did.
4.57.
And there was a behind-the-scenes video they put out after the draft where they were saying, yeah, I don't care that he runs a slow 40. The GPS numbers, he's moving on the field. He is as fast as anybody on the field. And that was the first time I went, oh, they can... We used to just kind of joke and say, Jerry Rice runs a 4.8 on Wednesday, but he runs a 4.37 on Sundays. We used to just say that was like an anecdote. They can actually prove it now with GPS numbers. And I've gone much further into, if I find GPS numbers about somebody's speed, I care about that much more than a 40-yard dash. Now, if you don't have GPS numbers, you have to lean on other forms to find out if a guy is fast. But Puka was one of the first. So now I'm looking for that. I think Tedrow McMillan's that way, right? He probably runs a 4.5, 4.40 or something like that. You watch him in a game, and I'm going well, he's running by guys that ran a 4.41. So you tell me what's going on here. Puka is the best at that, right? He runs a, what did you say, 4.57? Like a 4.6 40, roughly. But then guys that run like 4.38s can't catch him. So you tell me what's going on. Field fast. Let's get to the more fun stuff. What are you confident about for the Carolina Panthers?
I'm confident that Jalen Coker is your number 2 wide receiver now. Because it's been such a question mark, as you've obviously been rolling out Xavier Legette much of the season as your number 2 receiving option. And I was like, you know what? Jalen Coker is your most trusted pass catcher in terms of just reliability with his hands. He is. Yeah, I'd say even more to an extent than McMillan. Obviously, McMillan has the upside ability to stretch the field and all that, but who's the most reliable hands on your team? It's Jalen Coker.
If you, like, the hypothetical being 2 open wide receivers or same level of open, I think you'd want to throw it to Jalen Coker.
Yeah.
Right? I think Tedrow McMillan gets open better, right? And if you tell me Tedrow McMillan has 3 yards of separation and Jalen Coker has 1 yard of separation, I'm going Tedrow McMillan. I think that's where he levels up. But if you tell me they're both equally covered right now in their career, Jalen Coker is a better contested catch guy. He's more sure-handed. You're not superstitious, are you, Dennis?
Only a little stitious.
Okay. I'm not superstitious at all, so I'm not going to worry about the announcer's jinx here. I believe Jalen Coker hasn't dropped a pass in his career. Like, that's not like, oh, it feels like he hasn't. I'm pretty sure I saw on social media he has 0 drops in his career. That's pretty darn impressive, right? That's very good. So, yes, I'll give you that. My confidence... Again, we're playing cons and cons here. If you have a con, a concern, or a confidence that you want to pass along, you can head to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan.
Officially 0 drops in his career.
Look at that. And if you go ahead and say, like, if he drops one today and you try to blame me, guess what? Postseason stats don't count. He has 0 till next year no matter what. Can't jinx it. My confidence Derek Brown, as a dude, last time they played the Rams, I think it's a bit underrated, his strip sack of Matt Stafford. That is the play that sealed it. Up until then, I'm still going like, wow, they're in it. Good for them. Look at this. They're close against the Rams. That was the play that made me go, oh, wait a second. Right? And I know they had just scored, and it was the long ball to Tedero McMillan and his only catch of the game and touchdown and all that. And then, but Stafford was getting the ball with like 2.5 minutes left. And I'm going, this is, here's his MVP moment that everybody's going to reference.
Yep.
Until Derek Brown, who had a relatively quiet day that day. He is a, massive tackle guy meaning tackle numbers for an interior defensive lineman. I think he finished with 2 in that game. But one of them was a strip sack that was recovered by DJ Wanham late in the game. And if you look at kind of his career, he's played a lot of football that didn't mean much because the team wasn't very good. To, in that moment, make that play, it's probably one of the biggest of his career. So the fact that he stepped up against this team, now I hope he does more in the first, all but the last 2.5 minutes of the game. But the fact that you have a dude who's got that it factor as an interior defensive lineman to make that play, I think there's more. And he knocked down a pass, I think. Like he
tipped a pass that was intercepted by Nick Scott.
It wasn't that he wasn't there, but just we're used to seeing him with a bunch of tackles, and it wasn't that game.
Yeah, he made 2 plays, and they were both majorly impactful.
Exactly. So Derek Brown is my confidence, and they're going to need those guys to make a few more plays. Looking at the Panthers, and oh, by the way, I need to remind you all of this. 99.9 The Fan, talking about the Saturday of football action. 99.9 The Fan, that's us and Carolina Ale House, you know them, are hosting a playoffs watch party on Saturday afternoon. Join Paul Ihander, the host of Next Up with Paul Ihander, every weekday morning, 9 to 10. He's also the program director. He was just in here hanging out with us a second ago. Paul Ihander is going to be at the Wake Forest location of the Carolina Ale House for the wild card game at 4:30 p.m. While you're there, hanging out, grab a drink. They have specials every day of the week. Grab some food, enjoy the company, cheer on the hometown team. Paul will also have stuff to give away at halftime, so go ahead and bring the family Saturday for the playoffs watch party at the Carolina Ale House in Wake Forest. The apps are delicious. That's usually what I end up doing there. It's one of those deals where I could get a meal or I could get a whole bunch of apps, sit here and enjoy them the entire game. That's my move. You can do what you want. It's interesting, by the way, and there you go. As we move back to to talking about the Panthers here for a few minutes before we get to first goal score predictions, it's funny that we bring up Tedero McMillan and Jalen Coker as this future young wide receiver core, and then we look across the way and see Puka and Devontae Adams, right? Dennis brought up as his confidence, Jalen Coker being in the number 2 spot. My concern is Puka and Devontae Adams and then that wide receiver core. I think there's a possibility, especially if, and some believe that the Panthers will prioritize pass-catching tight end in this draft. I don't know if they will, but if they can get JT Sanders healthy and into that role, or they find someone else to be a true pass-catching wide tight end, you could have teams concerned about the Panthers that way in the near future. Like we talk about with Puka and Devontae going like, hey, if you put your number 1 guy on this guy, the other guy is going to beat you. You can't have your safeties lean in both directions. I think the potential for McMillan and Coker is there. Obviously, they need the passing game to step up in a big way. But Tedero McMillan could be a top 10 guy in the league, and Jalen Coker just needs to be good enough to keep teams honest on the other side, and I think they have that potential. Because, again, now we're going to mesh all of the conversations we're having. Looking at Dave Canales' history, which we were comparing to Sean McVay, what did he have when he was on the staff at Seattle? It was DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Yep. And they were both going for, $1,000 a year. What did he have in Tampa when he was the play caller that got the job to come here?
Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
And they were both going for $1,000 a year. Like, his offense can work with 2 high-volume pass catchers, and perhaps they already have him on the roster. Just got to free Jalen Coker, right? Let him go.
Well, that leads into the larger question of who's giving him the ball or throwing it to him.
Yeah, the other thing is the pass offense needs to step up in a big way, whether it's Bryce or someone else, the pass offense needs to step up in a big way. That is our entire cons and cons section here on the Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We may be a minute or two early, but I can't wait. So let's jump into first goal scorer predictions.
You caught me off guard.
I know. I'm just so excited.
I'm always say 4:33. That's the time, Tim.
Oh, it's 4:31 and a half.
No, okay. All right. People are going to get upset, Tim.
Call in now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. 919-860-5326. Who scores the first goal of the game for the Carolina Panthers? Carolina Hurricanes.
Them too. Actually, yes.
And in what period do they score it? Maybe we'll do first touchdown scorer predictions tomorrow.
Oh, actually, that'd be fun.
Heister Automotive Group hotline is open now for first goal scorer predictions. 919-860-5326. Call in now. Who scores it and in what period?
Robert Hunt, power play.
Net front presence? You try to move him. You try to wrestle with him in front of the net. I don't know if he can skate. I don't know if he has the hand-eye coordination, but he has the strength for darn sure. While Dennis gets the callers lined up, I'll give you just for the record so we know who scores the first goal from our 99.9 The Fan personalities. Paul Ihander says Seth Jarvis in the first, says he drops to a knee on the shot. That's a popular one from Paul. Max, the producer of Next Up with Paul Ihander. Aho in the first on the power play. That top line, that power play stays hot. Adam from the Adam Gold Show says Chatfield hasn't been a robust goal scorer this year. But he goes Chatfield in the first, and he gives us the assist from Freddie to add to that.
Let's go.
Top 10 Danish player point production. If you're listening earlier, you get that. If not, it's okay. Victoria also has Jarvis in the first, and she says in the first 10 minutes. We'll get to Dennis and mine in a second. But first, Brian in Holly Springs is first up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Brian in Holly Springs, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
All right, no one's hotter than Ehlers, so give me him in the first period on a power play.
Ehlers in the first on the power play. That top line and that power play stays hot. Brian, appreciate it. Good luck to you. We move right along to Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah in Wake, welcome to the show. Happy to have you. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
I'm going to say Fetchnov in the first. He's been playing like his normal self, so I trust that he'll score a goal tonight and start us off good.
Do you want to add any other details just for bragging rights, right? If you get Svetch in the first, that's all you need for the win. But we do give you the opportunity to describe the goal or any details just for a little extra glory.
He'll get the assist from Aho, but that's about it.
All right. Hey, sometimes right down the middle is the smartest decision. Appreciate it, Isaiah. You are locked in, and good luck to you. And finally, we go to David in Raleigh. David, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
Yes, Tim, we are going to go with we're going to finish that line strong. We're going to go with Aho in the first.
Aho in the first. I like that as well. Any other details?
Yeah, it's going to be a bing-bang, tic-tac-toe type thing. It's going to look great. And Aho is just going to be there for the finish, right in the middle.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for the call, and good luck to you as well. That leads perfectly into something I do want to talk about, so we'll get to that. But first, Dennis, who scores the first goal of the game and in what period?
It's very tempting to go with that trio. It really is. And actually, Aho is actually probably the safest pick. He actually has the most goals over the last 11 games among those three guys. That's why I'm going to go with Shane Gostisbehere on the power play in the first period.
I went with Shane Gostisbehere in the power play in the first yesterday, and I was so close. Or not yesterday, last game. I was so close. It was the second goal, but it was in the first period, and it was on the power play. Keandre Miller just had to go and ruin it by scoring first. No, I'm kidding. I'm very happy to be wrong on that. By the way, I'm going with Svetch in the first on the power play.
Okay.
I think he's been buzzing, and he's going to find, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, he's going to find the net a whole bunch of times. But the three callers were perfect, okay? One of the things that I want to talk about for the Carolina Hurricanes is that top line. Brian in Holly Springs went with Ehlers. Isaiah in Wake went with Svetch. David in Raleigh went with Aho. There is this I don't know, buzz that's happening. What is it, 24 points between the three of them in the 4 games they've played this calendar year?
Yeah, they each have 8 points.
That is, quite frankly, unsustainable. But it's bananas.
Bonkers.
And it does open up another I don't know, layer of possibility for the Carolina Hurricanes. If that line, which, by the way, like that's what Ehlers was brought in for, right? They wanted to complete that top line. They wanted to make it a true top line. Many thought it was going to be Aho, Jarvis, Ehlers. If Svetch is the one that's buzzing and you can use Jarvis's versatility to have him almost be like a mercenary on whatever other line you need him to go give them scoring pop, there's some intrigue there. But we know when the Canes are playing their system as well as they can, when Rod Brindamore has them fully bought in and they're seeing the ice well, we know they can win games 3-1, right? We know they can win games with just pure volume shot attempts and having possession of the puck the entire game, it seems like. And we know because we've seen it a bunch of times. If you tell me there's going to be some games where things aren't on the same page and there's a couple miscommunications and you give up a handful of goals, but the top line can go, no, we got you. We'll win this one 6-5, right? We got you. We'll turn on our selfish hats and we'll go out there and produce a bunch of points. That's just another way to win a game. And the more ways you can win a game, the better, right? What I always respect this. It's actually very similar to how I talk about the ACC basketball conference, right? Which is, and I'm talking a little stereotypes here, a little cliche, but the Big Ten was always big, strong 7-footers post. The SEC was always up and down, shooting threes, 7 seconds or less offenses. And then the ACC was the conference that could do both, right? They had some that plotted. They had some that were up and down, some defense first. You had Virginia trying to win games 45-43. You had Miami trying to win games 95-94. Like you had it all. And the Canes, we know, can win one way. If you show us they can win every way, because that top line is playing like the best lines as far as scoring goals and not just being one of the best lines at two-way hockey and forechecking and back-checking. They're also, quite frankly, being more selfish and scoring more. I really would be excited for that. With that being said, this could just be a heater, right? It could just be, the goal looks like a soccer goal right now to them, and that may not last forever. But, there is the sum of the parts argument. Like if you look at Svetch's skill set and you look at Ehlers' skill set and you put them centered by someone with Aho's skill set, if you didn't look at their histories, you might say, yeah, that line should produce a boatload of goals.
Yeah, theoretically that should work.
But we've been saying that, obviously not with Ehlers. We've been saying that about a few players and a few lines for a long time with the Canes. But maybe it's just coming together now in 2026. And I'll pair another thing that we said earlier. They are all, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, Dennis, they're all younger than you think, right? Like Svetch is 25, right? It's not like Sebastian Aho is, it feels like he's been around for a long time, but it's not like he's part of the Jordan Stahl generation. You know what I mean? He's 28 years old. And what is Ehlers, 29? I don't know him as well. 29, like they could just now be clicking as players, and maybe their prime is about to ignite. But 24 points in 4 games is crazy. And it also plays into the power play because it's not like all of them are coming in 5-on-5 with, more traditional setups. They are getting quite a few power play opportunities as well. And they're drawing a bunch of penalties, so it's not completely fluky. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Dennis Cox here real quick for my friends over at Loan Pronto. What's the best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate down to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it all now by giving Loan Pronto a call. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash. You can pay off all those high-interest credit cards and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait, folks. There's no hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Act now. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. Bryce.com. Start off this new year by wiping out all other high-interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 919-381-1760 and see how much cash you can get today. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, gets to a feedback frenzy. We hear from many of you coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
I've been saying for a while we got to find out what we've got in Brandon Bussey, and the only way to do that is to see how he bounces back from adversity. Well, the start against the Canadiens has provided that adversity, and now we'll see going forward how he reacts. Does he bounce back and play great in his next start? Does he string a whole bunch of great starts together? Then we'll know.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $90 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.35 to 4.68. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Happy Thursday to you all. It is a hockey night in Carolina. You can hear that game as they take on the Anaheim Ducks tonight right here on 99.9 The Fan, as well as the 99.9 The Fan app. It is a 7 o'clock puck drop, which means 6:30 Storm Watch with Adam Gold. And as always, if you want to grab more prep, more content, you can always head to our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan, or YouTube channel, I should say, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe while you're there. We would greatly appreciate it. And you can sort through all of the videos of this show, podcasts, other shows that we have on our network, and choose the content that way, kind of a la carte, if that's something you're into. With that being said, we do peruse those YouTube comments. We do look at them constantly, see the conversations you're having. We bring the best comments onto the show in something we call a feedback frenzy.
All right, Tim, there's a feature that we actually have on our 99.9 The Fan app where people can leave a voice memo. And we actually have a couple of them.
Interesting.
So I'm going to play one for you. Actually, I have a couple. I'm going to play both. I'll play one at a time. And this is the first one. You'll recognize this voice.
Okay. Hey, guys, this is Micah. Wanted to leave a quick voice. What the? All right, hold on. Let me redo this.
Oh, he's listening to the show. Thank you, Micah.
Hey, guys, this is Micah. Wanted to leave a quick voice note. It's not regarding the Panthers, but it's regarding the Hurricanes. I have some honest questions here. Why are we having the same conversations almost a year apart? And those conversations are, we're still soft, but more importantly, we don't have a 2C. How do we go into the summer not at a 2C, think in the right mind that Logan Stankoven, respectfully, he's a good player, but he's 5'8", is going to run 2C and lead us to the cup? That would never, no Cup winner the past 6 years would have a Logan Stankoven on their second line. Let's just be honest. That's just not true. We haven't upgraded anything. Like we are still soft, and we still need a 2C, and we're still small.
All right, first of all, Micah, you know we're fans of you. You're one of our more loyal participants. A few things. One, I don't think the Canes are trying to win like the last 6 Cup winners won. Like they are inherently a different team. They have different philosophies. So yeah, Logan Stankoven would look kind of weird as like the Florida Panthers second line center because they built their team in an inherently different way than the Canes have built their team. I'm not saying that Logan Stankoven is the long-term second line center, but I'm saying that's why the Canes gave it a try, because they see roster building differently. I'm coming more around. Like Micah has been from the inauguration of this show, from the very beginning of us starting the drive. He has been on the like they need to get a fighter. He was Brendan Lemieux's biggest fan. Then it was Giovanni Smith's biggest fan.
Giovanni Smith, yeah.
Just anybody who like drops the gloves in a preseason game. Micah's like, that's it. That's the guy. I want him on the team. I don't know if you go that aggressive, but I do think the players that are currently on the roster might have to become cooler with kind of being a bit more physical and pushing the line a little bit more. But we'll see if they do, right? Because they're still winning. They're still, top of the standings. They're still producing. And we don't really get to test the temperature on those things until the postseason.
I mean, we've seen teams like Tampa Bay, guys like Yanni Gourde's not a big guy. Yep. He's listed at 5'9". I've stood next to him. Like, I don't think you're 5'9", but he's one of the top 3 centers for Tampa Bay, and he's been there for a long time.
Yeah,
again, you can have someone that's on the small-ish side as one of your top 3 centers.
I am a fan of Logan Stankoven.
As am I.
I don't know if he is the long-term center, but I know he is a long-term piece.
For sure.
And you just got to figure out where you can get the most out of him and where he helps the team the most.
All right, next voice memo, which, by the way, again, download the 99.9 The Fan app. Make sure you're a registered user. That way you can leave these little voice notes. They're 60 seconds long, so don't ramble, folks. But here you go. Here's our next one here.
What's going on, guys? My name is Bryce, calling you from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Listen to you on my commute to and from work there on base. Live in Fuquay Arena with my wife and kids. I'm a North Carolina resident for the better part of 10 years, but originally from Tampa, Florida. Obviously moved up here for the military, and I got to say that the NFC South is the ACC of professional football, where the champ doesn't really belong in the playoff. Maybe that's my biased opinion, as the Bucs were eliminated this past weekend. But that's just what I think. And what is with these bylaws that allows for a 3-way tie to be arbitrarily deemed a champion? There's so much contention over who qualifies for the college football playoff, and very little people raise a stink about how the NFL arbitrates conference division champions. Anyway, that's my hot take.
His name was Bryce. Bryce, thank you for the call, and I believe he indicated he's a military member there, so thank you for your service. I disagree wholeheartedly. It's not arbitrary how they break ties. It is set in stone before the season that if there's a tie, these are the ways that it's broken. It's not arbitrary. It's not. There's no committee going, I want the Panthers. It's inarguable. Listen, winning your division gets you in the postseason. It has to be that way. It has to. It's the way it works. You play those teams twice, right? If you win the division, you are the best of that group. You get to go to the postseason. I disagree that they're the ACC, but I also ooh,
no, you're fine.
I also disagree that with the stank you're putting on them being the ACC. Like you're saying like it's an insult.
Hey, Miami's playing tonight.
Yeah, they got as many teams in the Final Four as the SEC.
I wonder if Bryce felt the same way when Tampa won the division at 8-9 a couple years ago.
True. My point is this. Everything is set up before this season. You know what you have to do to go win. They did enough. There's very little like abstract there. It's all very concrete.
All right, next one up here on the Feedback Frenzy. Tim, Dennis, this one comes from Panthers 3000 on our YouTube live chat. Tim, Dennis, what do you think bodes better for Carolina if they win the coin toss this coming Saturday? Taking the ball first and making a statement, or kicking first and possibly playing catch up and starting the second half strong because you get the ball to start the second half.
Okay.
Also,
so,
you got to factor in as well. There's bad weather potentially looking like this Saturday as well.
Which, I mean, I don't look at the weather report before 24 hours out. So I've been burned by that too many times where I'm like, I got to get ready for a rain game. I got to get ready, and then it's 75 degrees and sunny, and I'm like, why was I freaking out on Tuesday? So weather withstanding, right? If it's going to be absolute like typhoon in the second half and it's clear at the beginning, you take the ball. I think you got to know your team. This is one. I don't think there's a universal answer for this. I don't. Some coaches, they go by analytics. I don't think it's that. I think you got to know your team. So, you got to trust Dave Canales to make that proper decision. But I will say, I think a big part of it is, I do love the middle eight, right? If you can score right at the end of the half and then get the ball back and score again, I think that's so. Maybe I lean towards deferring and taking the ball in the second half. But I also believe you put your best unit out there, right? I think it's important how you start. So if you think your offense is better than defense, I might lean towards putting your offense. I think the Panthers' best unit this year has been their defense. So if I win the toss, I'm Dave Canales this Saturday, there is a good chance I am deferring to the second half, and I want the ball to start the second.
Okay. We had a conversation earlier today about Robert Hunt potentially returning. This one comes from Get You Done. Get You Done says, we beat the Rams off their bye week. The disrespect to have us at -10. They beat the Rams coming off their bye week. And remember, that was also a short week for Carolina as well because they had played Monday Night Football too.
Correct.
Anyway, disrespect at -10 on the point spread.
I hear what you're saying, and I see the logic. I don't think it's disrespect. I mean, they lost twice to the New Orleans Saints. Maybe -10 isn't enough, right? Like, you can't just look at one game. Listen, if this were a playoff committee, I would say, yeah, the Panthers, they beat them, and then head-to-head matters. It's not a committee. They're both in the postseason, so now you judge it as Vegas judges it, which is who do you think is going to play better moving forward, not who do you think you played better back in week 12 or week 13, whatever it was. So yeah, I think 10 is fair, but I also think, no spread is safe. I think the Panthers could upset everybody, even on the money line.
All right, we had a conversation about an hour ago about the Carolina Hurricanes and some questions about this or just the rest of this season, I guess we could say, in terms of trade deadline, who plays with who when Jacob Slavin comes back. By the way, real quick note of information for everyone out there. Rob Brindamore did state Jacob Slavin will not play tonight.
No! That's fine.
So Jacob Slavin will not play tonight. Frederick Anderson will start at net, which leads into this question. This one comes from Hot Tail Edits. I didn't make the name.
What are you editing, Hot Tail?
I don't know. I don't want to click and find out. Is there any word on trading Frederick Anderson? Because I think it may be time.
Well, you better have somebody else. It better be in the return. You better get a goalie of some kind. I understand Freddie hasn't been playing great, but it's not like you can just go with one goalie. Like that's so. I don't think it's a possibility unless you get to the point where there is somebody else ready and willing to step into that spot. Although I will say this. Yesterday, I caught wind of this. Mr. Goalie, a.k.a. Glenn Hall, passed away yesterday. Mm-hmm. There are certain records that are just never going to be broken by era. I think I saw he played in 502 consecutive games as a goalie.
I believe it.
Without a mask. That's unreal. And that's just not how they play anymore, right? So you need somebody that's he holds the record. I just found it here. According to Sportsnet, holds the NHL record for most consecutive games started as a goaltender with 502. That's unreal. But Brandon Bussey can't play every game. He can't do what Glenn Hall did, and rest in peace to him, and pass along support to all his family members. So Freddie's not being traded, especially with Pyotr Kochekov's surgery situation, unless they acquire somebody else. So it would take a lot of things to be kind of connecting dots for that to happen. Also, I'm not sure there's a lot of people trading for Freddie Anderson out there right now. He's going to have to play better to build that value up.
There you go. There's Feedback Frenzy.
Feedback Frenzy. As always, continue to comment on our social media posts and send in those voice notes. That was a fun little addition to Feedback Frenzy. That's on our app, 99.9 The Fan. Can't guarantee we get to them all, but if you're great, if you bring the energy, if you bring the sizzle, and your 1 minute recording, if you bring all that, I can guarantee you we'll do our best to get it on air. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Gordon Miller texted me earlier in the show. Do you know what he sent me? He said Jarvis in the first as a first goal scorer. He also said it's going to be a 6-1 win for the Canes. That's coming from Gordon Miller, which I want you to keep in mind as I tell you about Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. That's proof. Locally owned, right? They're part of our community right here in Cary. That's if you call Miller Lending right now, and I'm going to give you their number in a second because you're interested in a refinance, a no-cost loan, right? Maybe you had to lock in your rate at the peak of the market and you're up near high 7s or 8s on your rate and you want to refinance. Miller Lending can do that with a no closing cost loan and severely limit the cash out of your pocket. But you're calling someone in Cary if you call the number, right? You're calling someone here in the 919. I know that the area codes are deceiving now, right? You get a call from your home area code, you pick it up, and it's somebody, some spam risk from a million miles away. No, that's not the case. If you call Miller Lending, you're using a 919 number, and you're calling somebody in the area, somebody that makes first goal scorer predictions about the hometown hockey club. Right, Gordon Miller and Miller Lending have been here for decades. They've been helping out people get into the homes of their dreams for decades here in our part of the state of North Carolina. So give them a call. Miller Lending, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's already time for the starting five. Nearly 5 o'clock here on a Thursday. Stick around.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Anaheim.
Oh, between the legs, Miller! He scores!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Stars on the front. Dear Bussy! What a save! Sam Steele! Meet the bus driver. He's not letting you on tonight.
On your official audio home of Hurricanes hockey, 99.9 The Fan.
Here I am.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. During hockey season, I'm bouncing from coast to coast like a puck on ice. But when I'm back in town, I always head to Buffalo Brothers for the best wings on the planet. And check this out. Now they have a new flavor, chili lime. You can't beat the great specials at all 5 Triangle locations, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6. You can dine in or carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsors, First Carolina Bank and Smith Douglas Homes. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. It's a nice evening out there, but a lot of clouds. Temperatures cool off into the mid-40s tonight with patchy fog possible. Friday, 74 degrees the high. It's partly to mostly cloudy with a small chance for rain Friday night. Better rain and even storm chances come Saturday.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, up 270 points to 49,266.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is 5 o'clock on this Thursday, and that means it is time for the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let's go, Canes. Of every variety tonight.
Let's go.
Is that what we're rolling with?
Let's go, Canes.
Let's go, Canes. Not only the Carolina Hurricanes, because it is a hockey night in Carolina, but also everyone that's in favor of the ACC being successful has to be a Miami Hurricanes fan tonight as they take on Ole Miss. And there are, by the way, Ole Miss, good team, right? Trinidad Chambliss, their quarterback, is one of the coolest stories in sports, right? He last year won the national title of Division II with Ferris State. Hits the transfer portal, goes to Ole Miss. He wasn't even expected to be the starter for Ole Miss, right? He did not start the season as their starter, takes over after a game or two, and now he's a player who, you know, is, if he gets a waiver to come back next year, going to make millions of dollars, and he's in the Final Four, and he's putting highlights together. So it's not like Ole Miss is easy to root against, right? And obviously the Lane Kiffin stuff makes probably the players a little bit more easy to root for, but their coaching staff is in flux. Some of the guys that are coaching Ole Miss are like commuting to LSU to recruit out of the portal for LSU. Some guys aren't even coming back that coached last game because they had to go to LSU full time. So there is an opportunity here for Miami to once again continue to shock the world. I was hosting the ESPN last week and talked with Bill Collin, ESPN senior writer, and one of the questions he was asked was, what is your biggest surprise of the CFP thus far? And he did not hesitate to say, well, that's obviously Miami beating Ohio State, which it was, right? It's a 10 seed upsetting a 2 seed. But guess what, everybody? It's not that crazy when you look at the talent, right? If you look at the success over the last 2 years, and then yeah, it looks absolutely insane. Miami is talented. And if you're looking for a spot for this game to turn, Ole Miss has one of the best offensive lines when it comes to keeping pressure off their quarterback. Their pressure rate is extremely low. Miami has perhaps the best defensive line in the entire country when it comes to getting pressure on the opposing team's quarterback.
Ruben Bain's a monster.
And he has a hard name to pronounce.
Ruben Bain?
No, his counterpart on the other side. His name is Akeem Mesidor, I believe. He might be a better college edge rusher. Ruben Bain is the guy with the ridiculous skill set that's going to be drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft, and who knows where his career ends up. Mesidor might be the better college, like more polished edge rusher right now, and he's on the other side. So whoever wins that matchup, right, the bookend tackles for Ole Miss, and the play caller, Charlie Weiss Jr. for Ole Miss, getting the ball out of his quarterback's hands fast, or Bain and Mesidor, that could be where it's all decided. You also need Carson Beck to throw for more than like 130 yards, which is what he's been doing in the CFP. Look for Malachi Toney, freshman wide receiver from Miami. Very good. Very talented player. That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Move
movement on that offensive line this week because of the injuries. If there's some growing pains going on, Lopez is going to take a shot to the end zone, lofts one to the corner, and the ball is caught. Is he in the end zone? Yes, touchdown, Jeremiah Webb.
Gio Lopez, who was the quarterback for the Carolina Tar Heels last year, or this year that's kind of wrapping up, kind of 2025 season. Prior to that, he was a quarterback at South Alabama. Next year, he'll be a quarterback. Who knows if he'll start? Hasn't been announced. But he has committed out of the transfer portal to Wake Forest as he continues his journey through college football. I was talking, by the way, WRAL investigative reporter Brian Murphy had me on for their YouTube channel. We talked all transfer portal today, so you can go check that out. Our friends over at WRAL putting out a bunch of content on YouTube. But part of the conversation there was, what is different about the portal now, as it becomes more an ingrained kind of pillar of the college football season. And Brian did a good job of covering like the nuts and bolts, right? Oh, they used to have 2 portal windows. Now they have 1. And, obviously revenue share. Now we're starting to figure out where the additional money can come from and those sorts of things. And one of the things I added was, if you look at the CFP right now, all 4 teams are quarterbacks by a transfer, right? None of the 4 guys that are quarterbacking the teams that are still alive started their career at that school, and they came from as far and wide of a selection as you could, right? Trinidad Chambliss came from Division II Ferris State to Ole Miss. Carson Beck ended up at Miami from Georgia, where he started multiple seasons.
Yeah.
So he a 5-star guy. I mean, Chambliss had to be like a -2 star coming out of high school.
Yeah, if that.
Like they everybody, right? The transfer portal is where it ends up, and because of that, sports have always been significantly copycat business. If you see someone else having success, you go, can we do it that way? I think the quarterback especially, it is going to be ridiculous how often players transfer over the next, 10 years. Because schools are going to constantly think they are a quarterback away from all of their lofty dreams. And because of that, they're going to spend a lot. And because of that, players are going to want that money. Because of that, they're going to go into the portal. And then something like this can happen. Gio Lopez went to North Carolina from South Alabama. Admittedly, a big jump, right? Going from South Alabama to playing in the ACC, big jump. And obviously, North Carolina didn't have all their ducks in a row to start the year, and they've already moved on from their coordinator and a bunch of other things. But Gio Lopez didn't impress, okay? Now, maybe he would if given more time to develop and all these other things. But this year, I mean, sometimes, goodness, it was like this offense needs something else. He's staying in the ACC, right? There seems to be very little risk for quarterbacks right now. If at any point in time you've shown potential, you're just going to have 10 lives to go ahead and try to prove yourself. Thus, you're going to get players like Billy Edwards Jr., who's replacing Gio Lopez at UNC. He started at Wake Forest, goes to Maryland, goes to Wisconsin. Now he's at North Carolina. And if we're being real, there hasn't been a ton of production at any of those schools. But he just keeps hitting the portal, and his potential keeps getting him to land in other places. Buckle up, everybody. Quarterbacks are going to be passed around unless they hit absolute dynamite at one place. That is number 4. Let's get into number 3. The NFL continues to be the best reality television in the world. So Mike McDaniel was fired today as from his job as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. This is fascinating, and it's interesting for a bunch of reasons. One, he's a character, right? He is a personality. He's funny. He's got a little dry wit to him. Also, 2-3 years ago, he was seen as one of, if not the best offensive mind in the league. People don't realize this. Tyreek Hill played with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. and Travis Kelce and that explosive offense. And Andy Reid is seen as one of the best play callers in the history of the game. He went to Miami and immediately had back-to-back seasons with 300 more yards receiving than he ever put together with the Kansas City Chiefs. Tua Tagovailoa had not done anything along the lines of the success he had under Mike McDaniel until McDaniel showed up. He was a very, very hot name. A couple years later, he's fired. Then there's the drama element, right? The drama element of, we talk about quarterbacks and franchises as dating and married, and when you get the long-term contract, that's putting a ring on it. Coaches are similar, right? You're dating your franchise, and now you're looking for that long-term commitment. Miami has had a bunch of reports that their owner, Stephen Ross, is infatuated with John Harbaugh. The fact that Mike McDaniel was not fired until after John Harbaugh was fired feels like, oh, so you were texting him before we broke up, huh? Like, oh, okay. You were still following him on Instagram, weren't you? Just waiting for him to break up with his girlfriend before you went and dumped me, huh?
See, what happens if Harbaugh gets the Miami job?
What do you mean?
Is that the team that contacted Harbaugh that still had a head coach?
I believe so. And Josina Anderson pretty much said as much. You get insiders, certain trust other insiders, whatever. But Josina, when Adam Schefter was kind of being a little bit more coy, he was saying things like, within 45 minutes of John Harbaugh being fired, his agent was contacted by 7 teams that were interested in his services. And he let us do the math that there were only 6 non-Ravens openings. So it's like somebody with a head coach contacted. Josina Anderson was like, the Dolphins have been interested in Harbaugh. We'll see what happens with McDaniel. And then, 24 hours later, he was fired. Not saying Harbaugh is going to go there. I'm just saying it seems like they would be interested. Mike McDaniel now becomes interesting. Because if he doesn't get a head coaching job, I think he becomes one of the most coveted offensive coordinators that are out there on the market.
Easily.
Washington would be reportedly interviewing with Detroit.
That wouldn't be bad.
Which, if you give him all those weapons, watch out, right? It brings him back to the heyday of his Dolphins years. And there's now, I think they said of the top 6 picks in the draft, 5 are without head coaches right now. That's unbelievable. The NFL is truly if you have a down year, you're gone. If you have a down year and it's not your first year in that job, you're gone. It's a high intensity or stress industry.
Would Carolina entertain hiring Mike McDaniel as an OC? Would Dave Canales give up that play calling?
I think if he gives up play calling, it's going to be to somebody that comes from his coaching tree. Like, I could see McDaniel being a play caller for anybody from the McVay-Shanahan coaching tree because that's where he comes from. Also, keep this in mind. I believe McDaniel coached under Dan Quinn in Atlanta. And I think they were kind of like an odd couple friendship where, like, the most manly man, bald head, biker dude looking Dan Quinn and the kind of goofy sidekicky in this relationship Mike McDaniel were actually pretty close.
McDaniel was coaching under Shanahan when he was the offensive coordinator there, and I think that's when Dan Quinn was there too, I think.
So Washington seems like a lot of sense for Mike McDaniel because of previous relationships. Mm-hmm. Coaching is and people don't like this about it, it's a good old boys network. And I don't like it that way because I think it's really hard to break into if you're not like boys with one of 4 kingmakers, right? If you're not like a good friend of Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur, like if you're not, it's really just hard to break in. And I don't know if that's always fair, but I also get it because when you hire somebody to be on your coaching staff, you're going to be spending huge amounts of time and you have to trust them implicitly. And it just makes sense to be someone you have a relationship with. So I do think this offseason, Dave Canales will consider bringing in an offensive coordinator to take some of the play calling. But I do think it'll be somebody that he knows, right? I don't think it's going to be the true shakeup of bringing in somebody that's from a different system or has different philosophies. And McDaniel I don't think he's taking an offensive coordinator job where he's going to be like, we can negotiate and compromise and come up with an offense. If he takes an offensive coordinator job, it's going to be like, hire Brian Flores and let me run the offense, and he can just check up on me once a week. Like, I want the offense to be mine, and he's earned that right. He's that kind of an offensive mind. That is number 3. How about number 2?
Just the two of us. I feel great about playing football right now.
We have to get a vibe. That clip you just heard, I feel great about playing football right now. That was from Dave Canales, and I think it was early April when he said that.
It was April right after he got hired.
Yeah.
So April 2024.
If you feel great about playing football in April, how great do you feel about playing football in the NFL playoffs January 10th, Saturday? Because that's what he's looking at right now. And add on this, he may be getting his big old mauling offensive lineman Robert Hunt back. Robert Hunt's been out with an injury for a while, but he has been practicing, and he's been a full participant, I believe, this week up until now. Dave Canales updated the media on the status of Robert Hunt. Here's what he had to say.
Status is questionable, but he had a great day. He had another fantastic day. He was out there with his guys. I'm very optimistic about Rob playing, and I can't put anything official out there until, of course, we come up with the final roster and all that stuff. But he looked great.
Will he be the starter?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. If Rob can play, that's the whole reason. For last week, it was like we're not going to put him out there part time. If he's playing, he's playing, and this is it. This is the only game we have. This is it. So he's got to go. He's fired up to help out his teammates, and obviously, that'll be all official whenever it is. So
it is funny when they have the official injury reports, and it's like, well, I can't actually say what I want to say because our injury report says questionable. I mean, that felt like reading between the lines. Like, oh, he's playing, but
just make sure he doesn't have a setback.
True, and walkthroughs, I guess, could lead to that. Listen, him being back, if he is 80% of what he normally is, it's huge, and it gives you that mental barrier. Like, hey, we weren't running the ball well, but that was before we had Rob back, right? It gives you that distance from the struggles of the running game the last month. So if he can play, I think that really, really benefits the outlook for a team that, they backed into the postseason. Like, let's not – I know we're excited because it's just a postseason game, and every postseason game is awful. It's awesome. They played awful the last 2 weeks in some ways, the running game especially. Losing to both Seattle and Tampa were not easy to watch. So they're going to need ways to boost their confidence a bit beyond just being in the postseason. And Robert Hunt coming back would help with that, right? He is a emotional leader of that team.
I think he got hurt week 2.
Yeah, and
Arizona.
He and Damian Lewis, I think you'll appreciate this, Dennis. They give off a little bit of Mighty Ducks Bash Brothers vibe, Mighty Ducks D2 Bash Brothers vibe. They're mean, which is what you want up there in interior offensive linemen. So if they both can go, that's huge. You know what else might give them a little boost?
What's that?
Might give everybody a little extra confidence. If old Uno is back in the building, old Cam Newton is back in the building, perhaps banging the keep pounding drum, and Dave Canales has heard the same rumors we have.
I heard about that. I heard that rumor. For me, it's just we can use all the help we can get. You talk about bringing juice, and that's that momentum and that energy that comes. And I think about Cam. I just think of aura. And like he's the biggest big person. It's not just by his height and size, but also just the personality. And I just if that happens, I think it's amazing, and we can use any type of energy and that enthusiasm. And I know that I know our fans in Bank of America Stadium will be fired up if that does happen.
Fans, players, coaches, front office. Maybe whoever he's feuding with would be a little angry. Maybe David Tepper would be like, I guess we got to bring him back in. I don't know. But that is I don't want to say cheap, but it's a guaranteed way to get the crowd jumping. And I said this earlier in the week. I'm going to say it one more time. Know where he's sitting. Have a camera nearby And if there's a third down where you need everybody to get really, really loud, show Cam Newton, and it'll happen. I promise you. Right? If there's a crucial down, have him do a little pump up, maybe a dab, maybe a little Superman, and all of a sudden Matt Stafford won't be able – he'll have to go to the silent count, if you know what I mean. Won't be able to get those audibles out quite as quickly. Use everything you have, every tool in your toolbox to try to get this win. That's number 2. How about number 1?
Go one!
Miller gets this one, a move out front, he'll score! Logan Stankoven against his former team from the high slot into the net, and the Canes have a 3-1 lead.
Carolina Hurricanes play tonight against Anaheim at home, by the way. It's at the Lenovo Center. You can hear that game right here on 99.9 The Fan, as well as the 99.9 The Fan app. We talked about it earlier. There's a bunch of questions that I still have, and it's kind of fun, right? That they're playing very well. You look at the standings and everything. It's a very good season, and it's kind of crazy how high our expectations have risen for the Carolina Hurricanes in that they are 3 points clear of everybody in the Metropolitan, right? They're sitting in first. In the conference, you're looking at it, and they are tied atop the division, one game back. They've played one less game than Tampa, but they're both sitting with 55 points. And it's, it still feels like there's more meat on the bone, right? They've risen expectations so far that you can be atop the division, and we're still going like, yeah, I think there's another level. When, obviously, if you go back to the beginning of this run under Rod Brindamore, just being at the top of the division would have been celebration worthy. So with that being said, the questions, they continue, right? Freddie Anderson's going to be in net tonight. There's a question there. Dennis updated us earlier. Jacob Slavin did practice in a regular sweater. He took the non-contact sweater off practice yesterday, but he will not be playing today.
That is correct. Not playing tonight.
But you would imagine, you only practice so many times in a regular sweater before you get the call up, usually. So we'll continue to monitor that situation. And then there's this top line thing going on. I mean, 24 points for Ehlers, Aho, and Svech in the 4 games in 2026. Are we 6 points is what we need today? Is that the
combined?
Is that the standard?
Yeah, they're all getting 2 points today.
Or if one of them wants to get 5, I'm fine with that as well.
Yeah, Aho did that against Montreal.
He absolutely did. If one of them wants to get 4, I'm cool with that. Obviously, the point total goes up because they are such a good passing group, and if one of them scores a goal, there's a good chance one or two of them picked up an assist on that play. But it's really fun to see the top guys playing like top guys. We played the audio of Rod Brindamore earlier about the power play, and I think it's kind of similar when talking about the top line. So can you bring that audio up real quick for us, Dennis? He's giving me the thumbs up. So this is Rod Brindamore talking about the recent surge in production for the power play.
I wish I could say, yeah, we're doing this better. It's maybe pucks are going in. We've tweaked things, obviously. We moved pieces around a little, but, I don't know. I wish I had an answer to tell you this is what was doing it, because we would have done it a long time ago. It's just, stick with what we got to do. And like I say, we've been getting some pucks to go in now that weren't necessarily going in before.
I think that you could take that as about the power play, and obviously there's a lot of crossover with the players, top line and the power play units. But I think it's similar. It's not – there's not some golden magic decision that they made, right? It's not like, hey, guess what? We made everybody's hockey stick 3 inches longer, and it's like that's what fixed everything, right? I don't think it's that. I think it's just – if you keep doing the right things, you keep trying, eventually, if you have talented players, you're going to have streaks where, things just kind of pop off. And then once that happens, it's all about, extending the streak as long as you can and figuring out what's going well and trying to keep doing it. But, part of me does just want to say, if you take somebody with Svech's skill set, if you take somebody with Ehlers' skill set and you center them with Aho, it does kind of make sense that they would have ridiculous production. Maybe it's not always there, but when it happens, it's like, yeah, that tracks. I get it, right? If you take a bunch of really good high hockey IQ guys and you put them on the same line and you play them in appropriate kind of ways, it feels like it should work, and it is right now, which is good to see. And again, you can hear that game right here on 99.9 The Fan. I will be looking forward to 6 goals from the top line, or 6 points from the top line, at least. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and, we need numbers game participants, don't we? We have tickets to see Avenged Sevenfold with Good Charlotte at PNC Music Pavilion on August 16th, and they have to be won. They're tickets. They just want to be won. So call in now if you want to play the numbers game and win the tickets. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game and potentially win yourself those tickets. Numbers game next.
Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. Do you have a pocket or pouch or human hand to hold your smartphone? Then you have no excuse. Download the 99.9 The Fan brand new app today and take us with you wherever you go. Your favorite hosts, podcasts, and live sports action all in one place. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Finally, there's an app for 99.9 The Fan. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
Complete rules for all contests on Sports Radio, The Buzz, and 99.9 The Fan can be found during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh, or always online at 999thefan.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The contestants for today are Isaiah in Wake Forest and Andrew in Cary. They will be battling it out with jersey number trivia to find out who wins prizes, or wins a prize, which is a pair of tickets to see Avenged Sevenfold with Good Charlotte at PNC Music Pavilion on August 16th. As always, we will bring each contestant onto the show, ask them a question. Dennis will ask them the same question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. I am, throughout the commercials here, eating some cake that was brought to me. It is my birthday today. So that inspires the question here. Isaiah in Wake Forest, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. The question for today is, what is your favorite cake?
That's easy. I like ooey gooey butter cake.
Say that again?
It's called ooey gooey butter cake.
Ooey gooey is the part I was having a hard time understanding. Can you describe the ooey gooey butter cake for us?
It's like it's got a lot of butter, and it's like it's like a yellow cake, and then it has like vanilla icing on top with I don't know how to describe it. My grandmother makes it for me, and it's really good.
All right. Ooey gooey butter cake has a lot of butter. That tracks. Appreciate it, Isaiah. We'll see if it holds up. We go to Andrew and Cary. Andrew, can you hear me?
I can.
All right. The question is, what is your favorite cake?
Any kind of cheesecake, honestly. Strawberry, Oreo, any kind of cheesecake.
Cheesecake, not a bad pull. Little different there, but not a bad pull at all. Dennis, are we going with the ooey gooey butter cake or cheesecake of any variety?
All right, I'm going to sound like a complete loser in this regard. I don't like cheesecake. I'm not a cheesecake fan. No kind of cheesecake? I'm not a cheesecake fan. None at all.
I'm big on, like, give me half a slice because it's rich.
Yes.
But I do enjoy that half slice quite a bit.
I don't like cheesecake at all.
Do you like ooey gooey butter cake?
I don't like ooey gooey butter cake for the simple fact that I'm not a cream cheese person. There is like a layer of cream cheese that's an ooey gooey butter cake, but I can eat around that. I do love a good just yellow butter cake, so I'm going to go with the gooey butter cake here from Isaiah up in Wake Forest.
All right, Isaiah gets to go first. Andrew and Carrie, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on cake. It's an interesting deal.
By the way, the correct answer we were looking for is yellow cake with chocolate icing.
I'm not a big chocolate icing guy.
Chocolate buttercream icing. Delicious.
Buttercream. Anyway, Isaiah and Wake Forest, you get to go first. Are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right. The categories are NFL Panthers throughout history, NFL Rams throughout history, NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'll take the Carolina Panthers category.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. I will say that the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair with the other categories, timing-wise, do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Rico Dowdle, Carolina Panthers.
5.
Correct. Emir Smith-Marset, Carolina Panthers.
11.
Correct. Cam Newton, Carolina Panthers.
1.
Correct. Mike Davis, Carolina Panthers.
85.
Incorrect. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers.
42.
Incorrect. Mike Davis, Carolina Panthers.
25.
Incorrect. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers.
83.
Incorrect. Mike Davis, Carolina Panthers.
26.
Incorrect. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers.
42.
Incorrect. Mike Davis, Carolina. I have a feeling if we had enough time and we went Mike Davis one more time, what would have been your guess?
24.
Okay, never mind. Because you were building up to it. We would have accepted 27 or 28 for Mike Davis, so it felt like you were getting there. Kyle Allen, you were putting him in the wide receiver category up there in the 80s. He's quarterback number 7 is what we were looking for. But Emir Smith-Marset was a good pull. I'll give you credit for that one. You got 3. That's the lead in the clubhouse. Go ahead and stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up. And that brings us to Andrew and Carrie. Andrew, are you there?
I am.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players that were Rams throughout history, NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
We took my Panthers. Let's go with the Canes.
All right, you're going with the Carolina Hurricanes throughout history. I'll give you the team. You give me I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. I will say the team, even though you know it. Keep it fair with some of the other categories, timing-wise. You do need at least 4 for the win, and you do have 1 pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Mark Jankowski, Carolina Hurricanes.
27.
Incorrect. Eric Robinson, Carolina Hurricanes.
Pass.
Nicholas Waugh, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Incorrect. Mark Jankowski, Carolina Hurricanes.
29.
Incorrect. Eric Robinson, Carolina Hurricanes.
34.
Incorrect. Nicholas Waugh, Carolina Hurricanes.
14.
Incorrect. That's a tough one there. You ended with the Ofer. Mark Jankowski, who, by the way, drawing back into the lineup tonight with the new guy, Noah Philp, on the still in concussion protocol, I believe.
Yeah, concussion protocol for Noah.
So Mark Jankowski, number 77 is what we were looking for. Eric Robinson, number 50, and Nicholas Waugh, 58. So, again, that is an Ofer, but hopefully you had some fun.
Absolutely.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Maybe go cheer yourself up with some cheesecake. That means the winner is Isaiah and Wake Forest. Congratulations.
Thank you. Is Andrew still on the line?
Andrew is still on the line. I'm getting a nod from Dennis.
Can you give him the tickets? I just really wanted to try out I wanted to see how good I would do on the Carolina Panthers category. I don't really want the tickets, so you can have them.
Have both of you stay on the line and talk to Dennis. You guys can handle that off air. But congratulations on the win and the glory that comes with winning the numbers game. That's funny. You got to celebrate with something. So maybe go buy yourself some ooey, or get grandma to make you some ooey gooey butter cake.
Yeah, there you go.
Celebrate. You got to celebrate a win. Celebrate every win. That's the rules, right? 24-hour rule. Got to celebrate. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will have those Avenged Sevenfold tickets with Good Charlotte tomorrow. Last chance to win those. So if you're interested, tune in to Play the Numbers game tomorrow at about 5:30. By the way, tomorrow's show will obviously be loaded, right? There's a Panthers playoff game. We'll be reacting to the Canes tonight. All of the college basketball teams in the area are going to be in the mix on Saturday. So really fun show tomorrow. You're going to want to be tuned in for it. In addition to bold predictions and everything else that we do traditionally on a Friday. If you heard a little bit of an update there with Mark Jankowski drawing back into the lineup tonight with Philp still not ready to go. Also, Jacob Slavin, who did skate yesterday as a full participant in practice. He was in a regular sweater, meaning he took off the non-contact sweater at practice yesterday for the Canes. Rod Brindamore spoke to the media less than an hour ago, and he gave an update. Slavin will not be playing tonight against Anaheim. That's not to say there was any kind of a setback or anything. I would imagine because Slavin has jumped back into the lineup and gone and gotten hurt again this season already, I would expect they're going to be exceptionally cautious because once you get Slavin back into the lineup, you want him to be the steady Eddie, super dependable, having everyone's back, covering for them defenseman that you're used to. So I would imagine there's going to be some erring on the side of caution for Slavin's return, and it will not be tonight. Looking at the Canes' schedule, though, they still have one more game in this little little 3-game homestand. They already took care of business in the first game at home, January 6th. They took on Dallas, beat them 6-3. Tonight they have Anaheim, and Saturday, January 10th, which I believe will be a day where we have Canes versus Seattle at home. So Canes versus Kraken at home at 7. Obviously, in that afternoon, there will be the Carolina Panthers playoff game, and State, Duke, and UNC basketball will all be playing on the 10th as well. So that's like one of those sports solstices for our part of the country. That's going to be a really fun one. With that being said, before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. You know what you're really going to want to pay attention to? Because it would be an absolute disaster. I just brought up how awesome of a sports watching day Saturday is going to be. And if you're not going to be in attendance for one of the games, you're going to want to make sure your house is ready. You don't want your electrical situation, maybe all of a sudden you don't have the TV. You don't want the plumbing going wrong, right? Especially if your house in a whole bunch of finger foods watching the games. And you don't want to have to. If it's cold, I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like. If it's cold, you don't want to be inside with the jacket on because your cooling system isn't working, or vice versa. You don't want to have the heating system malfunctioning and now you're inside even though it's cold outside and you're in your bathing suit because it's 100 degrees because your heating is going haywire. No. You want everything working well, and so does Maynard Service Company. Maynard Service Company can maintain, can service, can fix your heating system, cooling system, plumbing, and electrical. Not only residential, commercial as well, but obviously when you're talking about sitting around watching games, it's probably in your house. So keep this number handy. Whether it's for an emergency situation, something breaks, you need help now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all across the triangle, or you're looking for one of those maintenance schedules to make sure you avoid those big problems on game day. The number to call is 919-860-53. Oh, that's our number. Goodness gracious. Went on autopilot there. The number for Maynard Service Company is 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or visit them online at MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. We'll be back with a conversation featuring myself and Mike Glennon, NC State legend and longtime NFL quarterback, diving further into the Bryce Young situation, Tedoroa McMillan situation as they get ready for their first postseason game. Mike Glennon from earlier today, next.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Anaheim.
Oh, between the legs, Miller! He scores!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Stars on the front. Dear Bussy! What a save! Sam Steele! Meet the bus driver. He's not letting you on tonight.
On your official audio home of Hurricanes hockey, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $6.99. That's right, just $6.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. It's the new year, 2026 is upon us. I know you're listening to this and you've already thought about what you want to do for your weight loss goal this year. Eating healthier, losing weight, getting in better shape, all those things. Look no further than Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Their program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center has helped thousands of people lose 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. I'm one of those people. I lost over 40 pounds thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center, and most importantly, I've maintained the weight that I've lost. That was over 15% of my body weight that I lost thanks to the program at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Schedule your free 15-minute phone call to learn more. Call Raleigh Weight Loss Center at 919-897-7506 or visit them online at RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. 919-897-7506, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up that free 15-minute phone call. Get on that weight loss journey to start the new year and visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan, joined now by our resident insight giver into NFL football, Mike Glennon, 10-year NFL veteran, obviously an NC State legend during his time in Raleigh. And, Mike, playoff football in Carolina. The Carolina Panthers made the postseason. It was a losing record, 8-9 that did it, but tiebreakers fell in their favor, and they back up into the playoffs. There was a debate, and it's one of the guys that you played with a bit. Dan Orlovsky was a part of it. After watching the Carolina Panthers lose to the Bucs on Saturday, which obviously put their playoff fate into the Falcons' hands, and the Falcons came through. Both Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer, NFL MVP, and Dan Orlovsky, who was on the call, criticized Bryce Young's feet, his footwork. Not getting his whole body into the throw, made him late, made him inaccurate at times. And one of the things I thought, well, I know what's going on here. These are two quarterbacks from the era slightly before me, criticizing a quarterback from the era slightly after me. And they grew up watching Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, and Bryce Young grew up watching late career Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. How has quarterback footwork changed in the last 15, 20 years? And are the criticisms that our era would put on Bryce for the improv wishy-washy nature still as firm as they were, because so many of the new guys are all about off-platform and whatever else you want to call it?
Yeah, I think footwork is always going to be extremely important for any quarterback, that you got to get your feet set in a way that allows you to best deliver the football. Now, with that being said, there are a few people that have figured out how to do it without perfect footwork. Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, there's a few others. At times, I think it catches up with them because it becomes extremely difficult at times. Bryce isn't them. Like, he doesn't have that freakish arm to do the things that those guys do. Matt Stafford does. And so for me, Bryce in a nasty weather game, Not the biggest guy. I imagine doesn't have the biggest hands. Probably needs to get his feet set to the target in a way that he can best deliver the football, because he just doesn't have the flick of the wrist, the kind of whip that Mahomes has. That you're right. The way that Orlovsky and Kurt Warner watched, Elway and those guys is different, because the evolution of the quarterback throwing motion has changed, and there's, that's for a 30-minute discussion.
I love the quarterback nerd stuff, and I actually think a lot of our listeners do as well.
But still, at the end of the day, footwork and all that in the pocket is extremely important, unless you just have a freakish arm.
So for a guy like Bryce, he is obviously, and I'm, breaking news, he's a little small. Like, he's undersized, right? And with that, I don't know if he can, Orlovsky, Warner, whoever it is, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", laser rocket arm can kind of plant your feet and be in the pocket and do that. I don't know if that's if Bryce can. So is there a medium where your feet can match up with the drive and timing and everything else, right? Because you need to be on time in a lot of these routes, while also understanding he's got to do a little bit of the Kyler Murray thing to find the openings and the gaps.
What I would say about that, and again, this is more of a philosophical conversation about throwing motion, is we are actually seeing more shorter quarterbacks now, because I think the throwing motion has changed. Back in the day, it was all about levers, and you want to be tall and you want to be long. Now you're seeing guys do what PGA golfers are doing. Rory McIlroy is tiny but can hit the ball a mile, because he learned how to generate force from the ground up, and he can do that.
Rory, for those of you that haven't that don't go to golf tournaments, he is an all-time. When he walks by, you're like, there's no way that's him. He's tiny, because he just looks bigger, and he swings so powerful on TV.
And people started mimicking and learning the throwing motion better, which is what Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is 6'2". Bryce is what?
5'10".
5'10",
and an eighth at the combine.
But either way, I mean, guys like Zach Wilson come to mind. Another shorter guy that can absolutely rip the football, because he learned how to generate more force from the ground in other ways than just having long levers. So I don't think it has to be perfect for Bryce, because he does some of those things well to generate, for the ball to pop off his hands. He just isn't quite at that level that some of these guys were talking about.
We're talking with Mike Glennon, former NC State quarterback, longtime NFL quarterback. In evaluating quarterbacks, right, this is his third year, so this upcoming offseason, he's eligible for extensions. They'll have to decide to pick up his fifth-year option. How much can a playoff game change? Right, we have 3 years of film to study for Bryce, but so often quarterbacks are judged by what they do when the lights are the brightest. If he has a big game, bad game, mediocre game, whatever it is against the Rams on Saturday, how much does that change things?
It's huge, because I learned that, I talked with my agent a few years ago when I was with, after the Giants, Daniel Jones the next year went, and he won a playoff game. And I remember talking to my agent, Daniel's contract was up, and he said the number that he thought they were going to get them, which was 4 years, $160 million. And he goes, there's a clear hurdle that if you become a playoff winning quarterback, that kind of that's another bar. And if Bryce can do that, his agent's going to leverage that. It's like he already set a bar now that he's a playoff caliber quarterback. To be a playoff winning quarterback is another hurdle that would jump him up even more. Now, I think the Panthers need to tread lightly and say, hey, not all playoff winning quarterbacks are the same. And they could honestly go back to probably Daniel Jones and say, Giants should have franchise tagged him.
They should have picked up his fifth-year option, and then they should have franchise tagged him. They botched that.
Let's see him do it again. But you see, this league is a league where agent goes to team and says, "Look, this is what player X got. Here's why Bryce is just as good as that player, and we want the same deal as what he got." So it would be big for Bryce. I would have said the same thing a month ago, but the 10.5 point spread I think is fair, and I actually think the Rams may even cover.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Talk with Mike Glennon here. Mike, last one for you. So Tedero McMillan finished his rookie year. I think he's his rookie regular season. I think he's the offensive rookie of the year. You played with Mike Evans his first few years in the league, and I was just doing some super surface level comparisons. Both, in that 6'4" plus range as far as height. Both drafted in the top 10. Mike Evans had 68 catches, I have the notes here, for 1,051 yards his rookie year. You were obviously a part of getting him those stats. Tedero McMillan had 70 catches for 1,014 yards. So 2 more catches, roughly 40 less yards. What was the key going from rookie to second year for Mike Evans to get him from, hey, a lot of potential, top 10 pick, we're happy with the pick, to what is likely now a Hall of Famer with 100-plus touchdowns?
I think it becomes a fine-tuning thing. It's like this whole offseason, Tedero has a season to reflect on what he did good, what he did bad, and where he can grow and improve on that. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm not just figuring out, I'm not just learning the system and kind of out there doing what the route says on in the playbook. Mm-hmm. It's like I know how to set up this corner. I know how to I know the strengths and weaknesses of this corner. It's just taking your game to a whole nother level that a full all season and honestly a little bit of a break from football allows you to do. So Tedero had a great year. I think he's going to be even better next year.
By the way, that season did start a streak of 1,000-yard seasons for Mike Evans that ended this year, largely due to injury. But if Panthers fans are looking, would it be 2036? I think would be the year that the streak finally ends. If Tedero McMillan is able to match Mike Evans, but that is quite an impressive run there. Mike, we appreciate you as always, and hopefully we're able to do this again soon.
Yes, thanks for having me, Tim.
That is crazy to think about, by the way, and thank you to Mike once again for recording that earlier. Check out Pack Therapy, the podcast. Mike and I hosted together. We broke down some of the biggest portal news for NC State on the episode we recorded today. Available everywhere podcasts can be found, including our YouTube and our 99.9 The Fan app. Subscribe while you're there and everything else. That is insane, though, about Mike Evans. If Tedero McMillan matches his 1,000-yard streak, I believe he'll have 1,000 yards every season until about 2035 or 2036.
Not bad.
That's insane.
Not bad.
But he didn't make the playoffs. Do you know why Mike Evans didn't make the playoffs?
Why?
Because tiebreakers put the Carolina Panthers in.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's all it takes sometimes. 99.9 The Fan and Carolina Ale House, by the way, are hosting a playoffs watch party on Saturday afternoon. Join our colleague Paul Ihander, host of Next Up with Paul, every weekday morning, 9 to 10. You can join Paul at the Wake Forest location of Carolina Ale House for the Carolina wild card game at 4:30. There's a lot of Carolinas in here, which is appropriate, right? While you're there, grab a drink. They have specials every day of the week. Grab some food, have some fun, enjoy the company. Paul will also have stuff to give away at halftime. So bring the entire family Saturday for our playoffs watch party at the Carolina Ale House in Wake Forest. Should be fun. Go in with, I'm going to say this probably 100 times tomorrow, so let me just, get it started up today. Go in with the proper mindset of a Panthers fan. Hope for the best, but understand gravy. It's all icing on the cake, right? It's all extra. Go in with the hope that you can shock the world. And, you just heard Mike say it, right? That he thinks the 10-point spread is kind of fair, right? He thinks the Rams have earned that with their play, that they should be the overwhelming favorite in a postseason game. So go in with the hope that the Carolina Panthers can, pull something off that nobody expects, but also understand that, a tough lesson learned in the postseason sticks with you, right? Like those aren't the ones you forget. If you make a mistake in the second quarter of a Week 7 game and your team wins anyway, it's kind of like no harm, no foul, right? You don't make sure for the rest of your career you don't make that mistake again. If you make a mistake in a postseason game, yeah, you're probably never going to make that mistake ever again, right? Every athlete has those things, right? Hey, my sophomore year, I threw an interception. It was, against cover 4, and I misread it. Guess what? Rest of my career, never messed up that read again because you see it in your sleep. So, that will happen for some Carolina Panthers. It's good. You need to have these. You need to learn the lessons the hard way sometimes. So just going, having fun, enjoying postseason football for the first time in whatever it's been, 7 years for Carolina. Speaking of the Carolina Panthers, they may have Robert Hunt back in the lineup, which is no small deal. Not literally because he's a huge human, or figuratively because he's really important. So that's where we're going to start Overdrive. It's coming up next. And we have Carolina Hurricanes hockey on the network later, so stay right here all night on 99.9 The Fan. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Something seems amiss between the relationship of Harbs and Lamar Jackson. I understand that nobody wants to blame either one of them for the lack of success they've been able to achieve since 2018, but at some point, something has to change in order to get a different result, and I think that the head coach is by far the easier to make a move.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS.